Get 'em, Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting nippy up the crack and we stacking chips. All of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They get slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon. We be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Wednesday, January 18th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Big week ahead of us. Division football, 4 playoff games this weekend. Just shot the Gridiron Gamblers last night. Had a nice Thursday, Friday here, but not good enough so far in 2023. I want to have a really big week here. I expect to have a really big week here. It is great to see all you guys in the chat. Fap win says, big boy bet today, Australian race, Pakenham, race 8, Eagle Saurus. On the fixed odds market, getting a nice price there. I'm going to copy and paste that Fap win. Thank you for sharing that with us. We have 5 games in NHL. Then we have a big 9-game NBA card with It's Derl rolling with us. And then we have picked 11 NCAA basketball games for Daby Cab and I to hammer. Daby Cab swept the board on Thursday. I like to see it. Made me happy to see him sweeping the board. I had cashed 7 of my last 8 in NBA before a Saturday double up on the Raptors against the Atlanta Hawks. I was just appalled that the Raptors weren't going to finish off that homestand by playing quality basketball. Very, very upsetting to watch, and so cost that streak and the confidence that I was starting to build. Gone. Great to see all you guys. Ryan Mueller, Real Deal Prime, Imp 13, 420, serious business. We got Imp 13, 420. We got RVD 420. Danny Lopez. There's Jacqueline. Great to see you. Alex Hills. Morgan Spooner. Great to have Morgan Spooner rocking with us. Haven't capped with him in a while. Nice to have you back in action. Troy Torrance. Oh, no. Says, tragedy struck. My computer hard drive crashed. I lost 1 year worth of data. I spent the last 4 days recovering as much as I can. I hate hearing that, Troy. I hate hearing that. That's awful, but we've all been there in one sort or another, and hate that you had to go through that, though, Troy, my man. That sucks. But we can build back. There's Von Polo ready to get to work. DC Capper, Dan Kelly says a free bet in NHL today. DraftKings offering. It has to have 3 legs, asking for a friend. Well, I've made 2 bets. I know what my third bet would be. So we're going to get into that right now. Scarminati ready to get to work. There's Lucas Ryan. So Sabres killed a 14 parlay for me last night, but we bounce back. Bob Taylor ready to get to work. Barry Smith has got the bag yesterday. Oilers plus 140. Arizona plus 115. Blackhawks plus 170. Spurs plus 140. Nice job, Barry. Nice job. I love that. Rocco Rogers ready to go. It's got to be same game parlay. Okay, we'll discuss what the options would be if we were looking at the player prop market and things of that nature, because we're going to get into NHL right now. There's Mike M. There's the nuke worker. So we have a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday here at Betting with the Bag. We're going to get back to our Tuesdays with Low Shack in the Bag here shortly. But right now we have a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and God, I got to get hot. Got to heat up here. There's Jay Peasy in the house. Texas A&M -2 first half, and Indiana State first half in full game. We aren't talking about the Indiana State game, although it's a nice game. It came close to making the list. But we will be breaking down Texas A&M. I'm going to get Jay Peasy's action here just above the college basketball. We're going to be closing with college basketball. Just for you guys to know, just a heads up, we have UConn, Seton Hall, Virginia Tech, Virginia, TCU, West Virginia, Auburn, LSU, Ohio State, Nebraska, Florida, Texas A&M. That's where I'll pop Jay Peasy's action. Cincinnati, South Florida. That was not originally on our card today, but Dabby's got to move on the game, and he wanted it. Xavier, DePaul, Providence, Marquette, Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma State. That's our situation right now. Slow Jams Arsenal is on Providence plus 7.5. Nice to see you. Slow Jams. There's Darryl Jones, Top Set, Drug Monkey RX. Great group. Let's get to work right now. NHL, just us. And, whatever. Not whatever, but we know that your action, it kind of ebbs and flows, and sometimes you're cashing and seeing things very clearly. I felt like I was at that point in the start of 2023, but NHL hurt me, and I want glory in the sport more than any other sport. So I'm ready to attack right now. There's Clint Star, the Die Hard MMA podcast. Says, good morning, low baggers. Go Yotes. 3-0 night myself. I'd love that. There's Jason Tourgy ready to get to work. So let's do exactly that. We start in National Hockey League, 7 p.m. Eastern. The Pittsburgh Penguins, 22-15 and 6-10, 10-2 on the road at the Ottawa Senators, 9-21 and 3, 11-10 and 1 at home. We're at the Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa, Ontario. Casey DeSmith be leading the charge with Tristan Jarry being hurt. I have DeSmith listed 6-9 and 2, 3.10 goals against average, 906 save percentage. Cam Talbot on the other side, 10-12 and 1, 2.86 goals against average, 906 save percentage, and 1 shutout. Pittsburgh's not playing well right now. They're not playing well. They've lost 3 defensemen to injuries in Jan Ruda, Jeff Petrie, and Chris Letang. It's hurt their power play. So they're 3-6-1 over their last 10. That power play, 12.2%. over those 10 games. And their penalty killing, 78.1%. The Senators come in off a 3-game road trip that opened with a 5-3 win at Arizona before they lost in ugly fashion 7-0 Colorado on Saturday night. And then they lost 2-1 at St. Louis on Monday night. They've won 1 of their last 5 games, now have been outscored 23-8 over those games. And I'm right with Slatsy here. Generally speaking, when a crucial member of the team returns from injury, and this was a long injury. Slatsy talked about Josh Norris back. Josh Norris is expected to make his return to the lineup tonight. He's been out since suffering a left shoulder injury October 22nd against the Coyotes. So this will be his 6th game of the year. Last year, he led the Senators with 35 goals in 66 games. He signed an 8-year, $63.6 million extension in the offseason, and this is the first year of the deal. Also, these teams play again on Friday, which is pretty important. There is BT ready to get to work. Great to see you. The Penguins snapped their 2-game losing streak with an underwhelming 4-3 overtime win at home over Anaheim on Monday. That's how difficult it is to get victories right now in a Penguins uniform. Rodney Barton in the house. Great to see you, my man. Dommy Gun Ricci. Also, great to see you. Dommy Gun. Rob Garvey. Great to see you guys. So with all that being said, usually we talk about it, we don't want to bet a team when a star player is returning. This is a different situation. The Senators are not playing well, and they desperately need their top 6 centermen in the lineup. We've talked about it all year, how badly they were missing him. As I said, they've been outscored 23-8 over these 5 games that they're 1-4 in. And I'm on the Senators at home with Norris in the lineup. I think he will be a spark here. Now, will he be a spark in that first game, or should you wait to the second game? I was humming and hawing about that nonstop. But I am on the Ottawa Senators at the dog price of plus 100 here. That's what I bet. Let's take a look at the line history. We have them opening up at plus 113. They're now minus 106. That's a bookmaker. Let's see what Pinnacle did it. Plus 103 to minus 102. And I moved to bet 365. That's moved to minus 105. I did get in at plus 100. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 6.5. There's been a 10-cent move to the under. And Imp 13 says one to pass, leans to sends, and the under 6. So the special teams drop off of the Penguins without Petrie and Letang is so noticeable. It's so noticeable. And if they're not able to score power play goals when they need them, and we know that Ottawa is going to have a huge spark with Norris back in the lineup, and this isn't a team that's rolling right now. If this team was rolling, obviously we would put into play the star player returning, which we're not doing here. So that's my card getting started is on the Senators at plus 100. I know that our guy Dan Kelly looking at a 3-bet correlated parlay with one of these games. I'm not sure if this would be it for me. I think that I would lean maybe more in the Colorado Calgary game. I think I would do that, but we'll discuss here as we go through. But that's my first spot on the board. Parlay Streets in the house. What up, Parlay Streets? Great to have you here for our live show. We're just one game in. Let's move on to game 2 for us here. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Boston Bruins 34-5-4. This record just doesn't cease to blow my mind every time I mention it. 13-4-1 on the road. They have played the bulk of their games at home. The Islanders 23-18-4, 13-7-2 at home. UBS Arena in Elmont, New York. The Islanders are falling off. It's disappointing. It's disappointing, and I don't know if they're going to be buyers at the deadline. And Adam Pelech is just such a big piece to this puzzle. And Wallstrom was playing well, and Palmieri is a helpful veteran. Those three guys out of the lineup, the Islanders look very susceptible of late. And I'm someone who likes to back them. I even took a good look at backing them here. They opened up at plus 142 at Pinnacle. They're now plus 163. So a lot of money coming in on the big bad Bruins. This opened up minus 114 to the over 5.5. It's now a pick 'em at minus 106. LJ from H-Town says Ottawa has 27 wins to the under, and LJ Bruins 12-0 versus the Metro Division. Unbelievable. 12-0 versus the Metro. That is just absolutely unbelievable. Linus Ullmark, Ilya Sorokin. Ullmark 23-2-1, 1.92 goals against average, 936 save percentage, 2 shutouts, on his way to win a Vezina. Sorokin still playing well, 2.30 goals against average, 925 save percentage, 3 shutouts, but the team in front of him just not getting the job done. Boston 7-1-2 over their past 10 games, 20.8% power play, 92.9% penalty killing over that stretch. That's how you win hockey games. Buffalo 4-5-1, 16.1% power play, 75% penalty killing. Their special teams have left quite a bit to be desired over the last little while. Bruins coming off their second straight win, a dominant 6-0 victory at home over the Flyers on Monday. Jake DeBrusk remains out with the fractured fibula. Islanders coming off a 4-3 overtime loss at home to the Capitals on Monday. They've lost 5 of 6, and they're just not to be trusted. Slatsy bet the Bruins in regulation minus 105. Oh, and Varlamov is confirmed for the Isles. Okay, thank you. That's a big piece of the puzzle. Big piece of the puzzle. Looking at this spot, I can understand why somebody would want Boston, but I really try to stay away from road favorites, especially a team that just smacked up another team in the Flyers 6-0 at home and feels so good about themselves. They've only played 18 games on the road. I know they have a nice record, 13-4-1 on the road, but I don't find this appealing. If I was going to take a road favorite on tonight's card, I would look closer to the Stars and the Lightning rather than the Bruins here. But I can understand anybody who wants to back the Bruins with the Islanders slipping the way they are. I'm not going to be doing that here. I don't want to be involved in this hockey game. Sean Pulliam in the house. What's up, Sharon? One thing that you would think, that we're back to 5.5 now with these two teams where, a year ago, 2 years ago, this would be an immediate under 5.5 for me. I'm a little hesitant here, I just watching all these games sail over nonstop. I mean, even look at the Bruins. 8 goals were scored in the Ducks game. 7 goals were scored in the Leafs game. But the Islanders just don't play. They just don't play offensive hockey. If we go back to their last 5 games, sure, they just lost in overtime at home to Washington, but they beat Montreal 2-1 before that. They lost 3-1 to Minnesota. They lost 2-1 in the shootout to Dallas. They won 4-1 or lost 4-1 at Calgary. God, it's got to be an under. It's got to be an under, doesn't it? I mean, the way the Islanders are going to play the Bruins, the problem is do you trust Varlamov enough? Let's just take one last look at Varlamov here and what he's done the last couple of games, because I did have Sorokin listed, and then we will move on to the next spot on the board. Here we go. Just a quick look at Varlamov. Can he be trusted enough to get us this under 5.5? 8-4-1, 2.76 goals against average, 913 save percentage. Let's take a look at his last few games here. He hasn't played on this homestand at all, and they haven't been good. His last start was that 4-1 loss at Calgary. I can't trust him enough. But it would be the under 5.5 or nothing. Domi Gunricci looking at the Stars spot right now. Viper NB talking about how the overs are running rampant here. There's D. Jenkins in the house. It's D says you like the over in the Bruins game. No, this would be an under 5.5 or no bet. Just because I don't trust Varlamov as much as Sorokin. There's only one way to play the Bruins, and that's to play extremely clean hockey. And why do I have Buffalo's numbers here? What the hell am I doing? Actually, Buffalo's 4-5-1. Sorry about that. We did have our football show last night, so it was a late night into the evening with capping. I'm shocked that I have that. Let's just quickly – I just got to pull up the last 10 games of Islanders stats here. Let's go to Stats Muse, NHL past 10 games. How am I doing with Buffalo's action there? Oh, no, that was the Islanders. I just wrote the team name down wrong. Is that it? The Islanders over their last 10 here are – they're 4-4-2 with a 13% power play and 87% penalty killing. You love that. You love seeing 87% penalty killing on the Islanders side, 92.9% penalty killing on the Bruins side. There's Millsy in the house. You love that. I have interest in the under 5.5, even with Varlamov out there. There's just only one way to play the Bruins. I actually have interest still in this under. What did the market do with it? Yeah, there's been a 8-cent move towards the under at Pinnacle. I have interest in this under. Okay, let's move on. Next up is the second bet and last bet that I made, although I am interested in a couple other spots. But I'm on the over 6 here in Avalanche, Calgary Flames. The Avalanche are trying to turn their season around, and they better. And they better do it immediately, or they still could not make the playoffs. They're getting healthier. They're still missing Manson and Bowen Byram, and of course, they're missing their captain, Gabe Landeskog. They're 3-6-1 over their past 10, 16.2% power play, 73.5% penalty killing. They're just not getting it done. I don't look at the Avalanche right now and think, oh, look at the value we have on them in the futures market. It's so tough for a team to turn it around. Now, they're going to be getting Gabe Landeskog, and he should be good to go. He should be as healthy as he's been in years, missing most of this season. But I don't look at this and think, wow, we have all this value on Colorado. Sharon says, I love Colorado here. Calgary 5-3-2 over their past 10, 19.2% power play, and 91.7% penalty killing. I can't hit hard enough how crucial it is to have that sort of a penalty killing unit rolling when you go up against a team like the Colorado Avalanche or like the Boston Bruins. Flames had their 2-game winning streak snapped and a 2-1 loss at Nashville Monday to finish off a 2-1-2 road trip. They're a healthy, underperforming group. Huberdeau's had a tough year, 8 goals, 23 assists in 42 games. Not the kind of delivery that you would expect from a guy who put up 115 points last year, and he scored over a point a game every year since 2017, 2018. I think these goaltenders are susceptible, and I think Calgary's going to be able to score in this game. And if Calgary's going to be able to score, then Colorado will have to answer back. I think the under 6 is a really nice spot. The over 6 is a really nice spot here. Let's just take one more look at what's happened with this market movement here. Calgary opening up at -132. They're now -126. And from a total perspective, it opened up at 6 at a pick'em. It's now -111 to the over on Pinnacle. And has Bet365 done anything with it? No, it's just sitting there with the regular VIG, regular juice, -110. I think goals will be scored here. There's Jedi for life, Christopher Comantini. It's D says it looks like a Colorado play when you look at it, but Calgary back and forth team. I think that it's pretty easy to expect Calgary to be an improved team here in the second half of the season. They're battling Edmonton for the wild card spots in the Pacific, and they need to put pressure on the Kings. They need to put pressure on the Kraken. It's a pretty Gregory Simmons also liking the over here. I like the over 6. I think it's a nice spot. I would prefer to see it -120 or -125. Billy Friedrich saying Kadri planning something dirty. Kadri has been great this year. He is -5, which is a little surprising, but he's been playing well this year. All right, so that's the over 6 and minus 110. We have 2 games left on this NHL card before we get into NBA. Next up for us, 10 p.m. Eastern, Dallas Stars 26-12-7, 14-7-4 on the road at the San Jose Sharks 13-23-9, 4-12-7 at home. We're at the SAP Center in San Jose, California. I've said this all year long. If you want to fade the Sharks, you only fade the Sharks. You only fade them at home. Home is where you got to fade them. There's Daby Cab in the house. And there's value fading them. The problem for fading them here with me and why I took pause was because the Stars snapped their 2-game losing streak with a very impressive 4-0 win at Vegas on Monday. And that's not the mindset I want to back a road favorite on after playing so well. And the Bruins are in the same spot. They just beat Philadelphia 6-0 at home. They feel good about themselves. They go into Long Island. Regularly, I would fade the Bruins in that spot, but the Bruins are just too good and the Islanders are not trustworthy. Here, the Stars aren't trustworthy, and I don't want them when they're feeling good about themselves. Sharks have been dealing with injuries to their depth defensemen, Nudavara, Radim Simek, and Scott Harrington all out. Dallas has been playing without Rupi Hintz. He's been out with upper body injury since January 8th. That's hurt them. Coactus, what up? Coactus, nice to see you. Sharks coming off their third straight loss, 4-3 at home to the Devils in the shootout. They played much, much improved. They haven't been playing very good hockey. It's just, I just don't want the players like Seguin and Ben, whom I don't really trust character-wise, coming off a huge win in Las Vegas. And like Nutflush Allen says, leaving Vegas is always a look against, especially leaving Vegas feeling great about yourself. Dallas, 25.9% power play, 83.9% penalty killing. Do miss Rupi Hintz, so he's a very special player. We'll take a look at the line history. I've talked myself off of the Stars. I do not want them here. There's been a huge, I guess not that big. I guess it depends how you look at it. The early action all came in on the Stars. The Stars got up to minus 179. Since then, that was at 11:29 p.m. at Pinnacle. Since then, there has been a 27-cent move to the San Jose Sharks. This total opened up at 6 as a pick-up. There's been an 8-cent move to the over. So, Rocco Rogers says, I think the Stars will handle business here. They're going to want to continue to win. They've been inconsistent. I think they want to build some consistency here with a good win and have to be in LA tomorrow. I feel you there. There's our guy, Fat Wally, in the house. Penny bombs. As well, says Edinger seems like he's gotten back into form lately. San Jose team total under is possible. Gregory Simmons says, what about an over? I don't dislike the over, but the Stars offense is not being something that you can count on of late. They have 9 goals in their last 2 games. That was after scoring 3 goals in the 2 games in New York against the Islanders and the Rangers. I just don't know when to trust this team, and when it's one thing to say here and say, oh yeah, I will give a pick on the Dallas Stars here because they're a better hockey team than the Sharks. But am I going to bet money on this team that I just don't have faith in? And now seeing this 27-cent move towards the San Jose Sharks, I'm not going to put my own cash on this Stars team. Now, you guys know that, I watch a lot of hockey and I have vividness biases, and I hate the Stars. All right. So, but I hate so many teams. There's a lot more hate than love in the NHL. Let's move on. Osby says, what's the main reason to not back the Avs in this spot? I'll tell you, Osby, it's because the Flames are going to turn things around. And that wasn't a bad road trip. They only lost 1 game in regulation. And, without Manson and Byram, is this Colorado team is a 73.5% penalty killing. You have a worse power play and penalty killing than the Calgary Flames, and the Calgary Flames are back at home after a decent road trip. I think goals are going to be scored. Dan Kelly says choose one of these: Ottawa plus 1.5, Pittsburgh, Ottawa over 4.5, and Stützle over a half goal, or Colorado, Calgary over 5.5, first period over a half, and Lindholm over a half goal. Stützle is very, very excited about Josh Norris being back. I would much rather use Stützle to get over a point. I'd rather focus on the point with Stützle rather than him scoring a goal. That'd be my Personally, that's what so I would rather do, even if it's going to pay less, I'd rather do your Ottawa look and switch Stutzla from goals to assists. Nate Cerna says, do you hate the Stars because they're not fellow Canadians? No, not at all. I hate the Canadian teams immensely. I despise them all except for the Canucks. I want them all to lose very badly and never win a Stanley Cup again. And if that means the Stanley Cup never comes back up to our border, so be it. I don't want to see those fan bases celebrate. I despise those fan bases. Why do I hate Dallas Stars? Because I hate Jamie Benn, a Victoria boy who, he's having a good season right now. But the things he said about the Sedins will always bother me. Always bother me. When you attack guys like that, I mean, when they get their big contract, they immediately donate, $7 million to the Sick Kids Hospital. And he was in his comments about the Sedins, he was intimating that they bang each other at night and they sleep together, all this stuff. And I was like, God, what a fucking ass clown. So no, it's because I despise Jamie Benn. Is why I don't like him. Okay. And he's a Victoria boy. Should be somebody that I like. All right. Let's move on. Final game on the board here before we get into NBA is the Lightning. Mike M says Tampa Bay's won 5 in a row versus the Canucks. The Canucks have lost 5 puck lines in a row after OT, but the spot that stands out is Vancouver 5 first period losses after OT at home. So Mike M is on Tampa Bay minus a half first period. Look, Slatsy says Lightning 5-0 last versus Canucks, 7-1 last 8 in Vancouver. Bolts money line over 5.5 parlay. Stamkos shoots and scores his 500th. Canucks are a hot mess. The Canucks have waved the white flag, but again, and the Lightning are trying to get Luke Shen off the Canucks, who's like, at $850K a year. He's by far the leader in hits this year in NHL. He's like the only guy with legit value on this Canucks squad. There's Billy Brisbane in the house. Billy Friedrich said the Canucks comeback in Carolina was rough to watch. Look, I get it. The management has waved the white flag. Horvat will be traded here shortly. And we'll see what we can get back. I mean, we traded Crawford right to the Devils. That's how we got Horvat in the first place. And that would just be the full circle trading Horvat. The decisions that management has made, and Rutherford has not done a good job here trying to clean up the horrific mess that Benning left us in. I don't like them. The Besser signing was just ridiculous. Not having a legitimate backup to Thatcher Demko has burnt us. Thatcher Demko's close to returning. He traveled with the boys on that road trip. They opened up that trip with losses to Winnipeg, Pittsburgh, Tampa, and Florida. There's sweet Maggie Thatcher Demko right now. Thank you, Jose. So the Canucks managed to get the one win. Look, the Lightning come off 4 straight wins. They won 4-1 at Seattle on Monday. They're playing so well. And over their last 10 games, their power plays at 39.3%. Vancouver's power plays at 60.7%. Do we think the Canucks are going to bounce back in Vancouver where they're being absolutely destroyed in the press every single day? Probably not. Slatsy says Ekman Larson contract, best contract ever. I got destroyed by people when I was so angry about the Garland and Ekman Larson trade. Bleds W, I'll give you my favorite look here in NHL. I think it's probably that over 6, but look, I just don't see how the Canucks, with the mess that they're in, this is a spot where I'd like to support a home dog. I would like to support them. They just lost. They played pretty well on that road trip. I know they ended up going 1-4, but they were in those games. They lose 5-4 in Tampa. And Topset says this sounds like a Vancouver spot. The problem is that the Canucks just can't be trusted. They have the worst defense I've ever seen in the history of the sport. I mean, I'd have to go look at the California Golden Seals defense to see if there's a defense as shit as the Canucks defense. But the Lightning are just rolling right now. Let's just take one look at the line history before we go into NBA. I find it difficult to not back the Lightning, but the market's not moving towards the Lightning. Oh, God. This is just Slow Jam says this looks like a Tampa Bay puck line spot. I don't see how the Canucks would turn this around right now. The guy with 30 goals in like 43 games wearing the captain on his jersey is not re-signing in Vancouver. So your captain's not coming back. JT Miller's getting vilified in the press, even though I like him a lot. Our goaltending's absolute trash. Spencer fucking Martin. And even if Thatcher Demko comes back, how many hip surgeries are you going to have? What are you, an 80-year-old woman? But there's, situationally, if the Canucks weren't such a fucking mess, you would kind of like them here. That was a really, really tough road trip. And they won their last game. They showed some heart. The thing is that Tampa's just playing so good. Slatsy said, watch Tampa last game. They're trying so hard to get Stamkos' 500th point, is ripping it up. Tampa power play is on. So, God, Lightning just got to be feeling so good about themselves, but I guess they're the look, and the -1 is not expensive. Let's just see what the Lightning -1 would be. -185 plus 135 here. Bet 365. So let's just quickly just pop it into the computer here and see what we'd get. -185 plus 135. That would be a -121 -1. God, it's probably what I should bet. All right. Christopher Comedy to the Margaret Thatcher Demko name, literally. Okay, I think I'm going to jump in with the Lightning -1. That will be my only addition here. Top set, it does. Generally speaking, it'd be a good spot, but Rutherford had the press conference last week saying we give up. Things are going to get worse before they get better, which is something that they should have done a few years ago. You got to be the worst to become the best. Just being mediocre is a death knell for a franchise. Rocco Rogers says the over here. I'm telling you, Canucks still hungry. They'll fight. I hope so. -113, Sammy Calmer says. There's Eric Jones in the house. Yes, bankroll Spence. Always there is a -1 calculator available. Get comfortable with it because in baseball it will come in extremely handy. There you go. Okay, so in NHL, I already moved on the Senators at +100. I moved on the over 6 in the Avalanche Flames game. I'm going to add the Lightning -1 when this show is over. All right, let's move on to NBA. My pleasure, Bankroll Spence. We have our first guest of the show here, coming to us from Los Angeles, California. We've seen what he's done over a full season of sample size, and it's been very impressive. Right now, he's 26-25, 51% down, 0.79 units, but I know he's going to heat up. And this is right around the time last year when he went on his run to get to 60% against the spread. Please welcome to the show from Los Angeles, California, Darryl Rice. What up, Darryl?
Yo, what's going on, man? What's going good? What's good with you? I fixed my camera, right?
You did, yeah.
So, hold on, let me see here.
No, we're good. Don't worry about the audio sounds great. Yeah, nice to have you back in business, my man. Nice to have you back in business.
Yeah, man, it was a pretty decent day for me. Really mad at some of the spots I looked at. Probably would have had a chance to turn that around if I hadn't added a pick there. But yeah, man, happy to be back. As we always say, man, any day on this side of the day, any day on this side of the grass is a good day, Jimmy. So peace and love to you. Peace and love to Jose himself and to all the low baggers, man.
Let's get to work, my friend. 9-game NBA card, not too overwhelming. Let's attack.
Yeah.
My record is atrocious, and
we'll get it.
It's just there's nothing I can say about it, but we'll always be transparent, and we'll always
absolutely.
And sometimes it's embarrassing, like it is right now.
Yeah.
We do have a tiny bit of an echo, a very tiny bit of an echo.
So maybe it's me.
But we'll get it figured out. Let's get to work here right now. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The Washington Wizards 18-26, 7-16 on the road at the New York Knicks 25-20, 11-12 at home, Madison Square Garden in New York. Washington 1-4 over their past 5, playing at a pace at 99.80 possessions a game. New York Knicks 3-2, playing at a pace at 95.41 game. That is the slowest in the NBA. Let's take a look at the line history here and then the cash flow and set a very quick table for our guy Derl. Here we go. We have the Knicks opening up at 6.5-point favorites. They dipped to 6 for a little bit. They're right back at 6.5. We'll take a look at the total. Opened up at 222.5. It got down to 221.5. It has shot up in the last couple hours. It's now at 223. Get over to Pinnacle. Okay, now let's take a look at the cash flow here for this one. We have 3,802 tickets in. Sports Insights has not given, they've given the tiniest sliver. We're talking 1% to 2 teams. Other than that, only one team has any line value, according to them. That's the Indiana Pacers. They have full line value today. But let's talk about this spot. 3,802 tickets in, 51% of the tickets on the Knicks, 72% of the cash. We have no totals information, and we have no total information for the cash in 5 of these 9 games. So that's not going to be very helpful there. Wizards come in off their second straight loss, 127-118 at home to the Warriors on Monday. This is the second time they're facing the Knicks in 3 games. They faced the Knicks on Friday and came close to battling back. They ended up losing 112-108, but the Wizards had a big fourth quarter comeback. Kristaps Porzingis went for 32. Kyle Kuzma had 40 in that game on Friday. He was held to just 16 in that loss to the Warriors. No Bradley Beal. He's going to miss his 6th straight game. They are 10-14 with Beal in the lineup. There's not much of a difference record-wise with him or without him. Monte Morris held out Friday. He had a hamstring injury, so he didn't play in the Knicks game. He played Monday and looked great, 17 points, 10 assists. Knicks had their 3-game winning streak snapped, a 123-121 overtime loss at home to the Raptors on Monday. RJ Barrett went for 32. Brunson went for 26. They're the only team in the NBA with a winning record but a losing one at home. They're 15-7 over their past 22 and 7-5 at home over that span. Take it away for us here, Darryl. First game on the board, Wizards, Knicks.
Yeah, so we take away the 2 plays that I added, and we have a winning day, just not break even, right? Now, what we had talked about was there were 3 things that are automatic specifically about these 2 teams. One is the Knicks' first quarter, and they lose that. I believe it was the Knicks and the Wizards first quarter over, and they score unbelievably low points. I think it was 21-17, 21-19. The next is the Knicks first quarter, how they cover. Not as strong, but they do good. And then secondly, the third, which has been almost automatic, is the Knicks first half. And they didn't cover that shit. So 3 things, or maybe more likely 2 things that are really automatic to play here, they didn't even cover. And that is the Wizards, Knicks first quarter over, first half, and first quarter by the Knicks. So in assessing these 3 plays again, I go, and what happens the next game? Washington, first quarter over in Golden State, right? Knicks back to their winning ways, covering the first half. So this is what I looked at and said, out of these 3 plays, do I want to go back to the well with the first half of the first quarter? Or do I want to look at that total, it being as low as it is, and thinking that these teams have equal rest now? New York is back at home. Do we have the potential or the likelihood of these teams to score very, very, very low? And out of looking out of the 3 options, I feel my belief is the best option here is to take the first quarter over on this team because the total is low. So in front of first half for the Knicks, in front of first quarter for the Knicks, I'm thinking I'm just going to get to the well with the first quarter over because these teams are going to score more. It's more likely than not that they're going to score 17 and 21 or 19 and 21 points in the first quarter. So I do like the first quarter over. I already stepped on that at 54.5. 54.5. Now, I couldn't knock anybody for taking Knicks first half, and I just might get there. But what's bit me in the ass is that I've added the Knicks late, and those two plays, or only one of them covered. The first quarter didn't cover. First half didn't cover. Right. So out of the 3 games that I lost, 2 of them came at my demise by the Knicks. So with all that said, I do like the first quarter over 54.5 for this team to cover.
Yeah, it makes sense. Those 54.5 and minus 110 are leaving. A lot of books have moved to 55. We can't get the 54.5 minus 110. Pinnacle's moved that to minus 113. So most books will have that at 55 here shortly. Eric Jones says over. Parlay Streets is on Knicks first half. LJ from H-Town says Wizards are 2-5 against the spread last 7 first half on the road versus the East. Wizards lost 8 out of last 10 on the road versus the East.
I couldn't knock that. I couldn't knock it at all. I mean, that seems like a good play also because they just went right back to the well with it. So just looking at that game, and they were just sluggish overall. They just were not making shots. I tell you what, you saw it in the chat. Couldn't knock anybody off a Randall double either. Right?
What about Dan Kelly thinking about Zingis being back at MSG and wanting to put on a show there? He's looking at Kristaps props.
Well, then that helps me with the points, right? If you're going to put on a show, you're going to start early, get off to a fast start. That's probably why. I've never seen a total in the first quarter move so quickly, right? Mm-hmm. So if we're already getting 55s and things like that, that makes me more confident about this over first quarter play. So I'm sticking with that. Over 54.5 is where I already got it. Randall double sounds good. Porzingis wanting to perform at the Garden sounds good. Dan Kelly's going to always find some interesting angle. But I couldn't talk anybody also off that first half Knicks. I probably should get there, but I'm a little in church now because against this team, they did not cover first quarter or first half.
First quarter over 54.5 for our guy Derl. Let's move on to game 2 on tonight's board, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Atlanta Hawks, 22-22, 10-13 on the road. Dallas Mavericks, 24-21, 16-6 at home. Hawks starting to show some life. That was one ugly road trip the Mavericks just got off of. We're at American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. A nice opportunity for the Mavericks to bounce back here. Atlanta 4-1 over the past 5, playing at a pace at 99.7 possessions a game. Dallas 1-4, playing at a pace at 96.67 possessions a game. We saw what happens when Luka doesn't control the pace. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There was 263 points scored on Sunday at Portland. And when he's in control of the pace like he was in the Lakers game, that game went to double overtime and we still cashed the under. Let's take a look at the line history here and see how we move on it. Here we go. Dallas at home. After that ugly road trip, they opened up at -3. They're now -2. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 232.5. It got up to 234. It's back at 233.5. You have Dallas playing at 96.67 possessions a game. Atlanta playing under 100 possessions a game. I mean, how spectacular does the efficiency have to be to get over 233.5 points in this game? I mean, that does not make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't.
No. Let's see where the cash is here for this one. 7,046 tickets in. 87% of the tickets, 91% of the cash on the Mavericks, and it's gone back a point towards the Hawks. That's a red flag. 47% of tickets and 52% of cash on the under, and it keeps going up. Hawks coming off their third straight win, 121-113 at home versus the Heat on Monday. Trae Young had 10 turnovers, 24 points, 8 boards, and 10 turnovers in that win. Clint Capella returned, missed 10 games with a right thigh injury. They have their entire roster intact. He's a big piece of the puzzle. Mavericks coming off their second straight loss, 141-23 at Portland on Sunday. Luka had a season low 15 points in 35 minutes on Saturday, so he was given the day off on Sunday. That's the 5th time he's been given the day off, all second games of back-to-backs. They finished up their 5-game road trip 1-4 with just a double overtime win at the Lakers to show for it. Christian Wood dealing with the right ankle sprain. Spencer Dinwiddie and Tim Hardaway. Tim Hardaway is still dealing with a left ankle sprain as well. Josh Green, right elbow sprain. Dorian Finney-Smith, right adductor strain. Maxi Kleber, right hamstring tear. I don't know if I want to do it, but thinking about the injuries, I guess you expect the Mavericks to bounce back at home. So maybe I should just stay off the side. But I do not want. I want to bet this under. I want to put their efficiency to the test. Take it away for us, Darryl. Hawks, Mavs.
That's funny that you say that, Jay, because I'm not the totals person all the way, right? But I looked at this game and I'm like, what in the fuck is 234.5 even up for? So looking at the game, and I had wrote this game, I specifically wrote just about the total because it didn't make sense to me. It did not make sense to me at all. First off, I said this one I'll wait for the injury report. Let's see what really happens with the Don, right? Let's see if he plays. I'm pretty sure he is, but he still is on the injury report. And we know what's going on with these motherfucking injury reports in the NBA. So I'd wait for that. First game they've played this season, right? They haven't played since February of last year. So first game they played this season. And I wrote here, Jimmy, this total seems high for teams that seem to play to the under. Last 10, only one game in the 230s has gone over for Dallas. And both games that Atlanta played in the 240s have gone over. Right? So Atlanta has gone to the over 3 times. And Dallas has gone over twice. I don't understand why it's at 234. Really? It just doesn't make sense to me at all. Maybe if it's high, then that tells me that Atlanta's going to win this game. This just feels like an Atlanta side. And then looking at the level of opponent, Atlanta's on a 3-game winning streak. Dallas on a 2-game winning streak. Atlanta has beat Indy. Okay, we know Hallie's out there. We know we've got some injury issues with Indy. But they did beat Toronto and they beat Miami. Right? The same token, Dallas right now has lost their last 2, and that being both back-to-back in Portland. You beat the Lakers but lose to the Clippers. So they're kind of in their slump. I would wait for the injury report, but I'm with you on this one. I would really look at that under here because it just doesn't make sense to me. Because if this game is going under, then that would have to be a Dallas side. But with this many points that they're projecting, it feels like an Atlanta side. So all in all, I'm kind of tossed on this one here. I lean the under, and here's where I'm conflicted. I lean the under, Jay, right? But I do like Atlanta to win this game just because of the little rise that they're on here. So I don't know right now where I would go with this. Probably the strongest play, in my opinion, would be the under. But for right now, I don't have a solid look on this one.
It's wild that this has moved to a +2 with all the money on Dallas. At 7:39 this morning, it got to 4. So the books were, respecting that money on Dallas. They stopped. It's down to 2. So there's been a 2-point swing. I don't know if
does that tell you Luka's possibly not in? I mean, when you have a 2-point move like that,
I think it tells us that the other injuries that Dallas has, Wood, Finney, Smith, they're all out. Maybe, I think it tells us that Christian Wood is out. I just don't see how in the world Luka wouldn't be here. They gave him the break. Now he's back home. So Slow Jam says it's high for a reason. Hawks and over.
That's how it correlates.
I get it. I get it. If Hawks take care of business, it could go over. But this pace is just too slow, and I will fade these spots. And I know Leo said it. Leo said it talking about how these home games for the Mavs have been going over. So, this. I would love to have the balls to bet the Hawks here. I would love to do it. And I probably should do it.
Yeah. If I'm looking at a side, I just think right now in current form, who's playing better? Absolutely, Atlanta is.
It's just situationally, this is where I'd like to back a team coming off a bad road trip and they're coming home and they're 16-6 at home.
Yeah.
So, I guess I can't do it. It's just situationally not the kind of spot that I would like to do it in. Jacksonville Zoe in the house. Mally Mal saying plus money is the best money in gambling. Look, I get it. I get it. It's just I'm not. If I had a free if it was still at 4, maybe that would have scared me. I don't know. I just can't take my money out and fade the Mavericks here that are 16-6 at home and just came off a brutal road trip and have arrested Luka ready to go. But the Hawks are healthy. Okay, I'm just going to put question marks. I'm going to move on the under. I'm going to put question marks with the Hawks.
Yeah.
And BJ saying Jimmy's right situationally, I wouldn't bet this game. And Terrell Riley saying Atlanta the healthier team. You know, it's Hawks or no bet. No doubt about it. With all the money and tickets that are on the Mavericks and the market moving away from them. The under, I will move on. Are you making anything official here?
No, not at all. Not at all. I probably won't get to this game.
All right. Well, that one was a fun game to talk about. Let's talk about just a bum fight for the ages.
What are we fucking doing here?
Bum fight for the ages here. And then we're talking like a male bum fight too. Nothing anybody wants to watch here. Not a female bum fight, which everybody loves to watch. A male bum fight. Charlotte Hornets 11-34, 6-18 on the road at the Houston Rockets, 10-34, 6-14 at home. We're at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. Hornets have lost 5 straight. The Rockets have lost 11 straight. Over the last 5 games, Charlotte playing at a pace of 97.7 possessions a game. Houston at 100.7. This is ugly basketball here. Houston opening up as 2-point dogs. That's where they stand right now, but it's even money, no vig if you want them at +2. From a total perspective, opened up at 238. It's now dropped to 237. I mean, even here, with the pace of these two teams,
I know.
How in the world is the total where it's at? It makes no sense at all.
That first quarter total, Jimmy, it's at 61.5, bro.
It's just
you're trying to tell me at the end of this first quarter, both these teams are going to be in the 30s? The fuck?
My guy in the chat here liking the over. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. 2,991 tickets in. 55% of the tickets, 88% of cash on the Rockets, but market not moving towards them. We do have a full information on the total here. 70% of the tickets on the over and 67% of cash is on the over. I mean, look, there's just 248 points scored in the Hornets last game to the Celtics. Their loss to the Celtics on Monday, but still, no Hayward, no Cody Martin, no Kelly Oubre. Hayward and Martin will return sometime soon. That's not going to be tonight, I don't think.
No KPJ.
Rockets come in off their 11th straight loss, 140, 132 at the Lakers on Monday. Alperen Sengun is going off. 33 points, 15 boards, 6 assists, 4 blocks for the 20-year-old Turkish center. 14-17 from the floor. But this team is just falling apart. They've lost 9 straight at home. And over their past 11 games, their defensive rating is by far the worst in the NBA. All right. Bally Mal says Rockets just scored 132 points. These teams are scoring a ton of points, but the Lakers are playing at a very fast pace. And there's a difference here. When you're playing in LA on Martin Luther King Day, there's going to be some more excitement and pace. And now you're playing the worst team in the league at home where you've lost 9 straight in front of a half-full arena. So,
right.
This is another spot where I'm very interested in the under, but let's hear what you have to say about it, Darryl. Take it away, Hornets, Rockets.
No, man. No, you know goddamn well I'm not going to take this shit away.
Okay.
You know, it's I tried to look at an angle. I actually wrote a little bit of notes on this, and that was, it seems like if you're going to look at this game, look at it early, and that would be for Charlotte. It would still be for Charlotte. But, 0-10 in the last 10, 1-9 ATS in the last 10 for the Rockets. Charlotte's no better at 2-8, but for right now, it would be Hornets or nothing for me. But maybe like Alfred said, you're not going to get any defense, and this should be a 300-point game, right, in the total wise. But I just can't bet on these two teams at all. I can't. Like you don't have any KPJ there either. So maybe there is scoring back and forth, but these are just two bad teams, period. So I can't get an angle on them.
Well, I'll challenge this total here. I don't care what they have done in the past. I don't care how bad their defensive rating is in front of a half-full arena where Charlotte's playing under 98 possessions a game. I do not see this. And look, there's 70% of tickets, 67% of cash is on the over, and it's dropped a point.
Hey, BJ called it on the head, hit the nail on the head, man. If you're betting this fucking game, there's a 1-800 number we can give you.
Look, fuck, I don't need no 1-800 numbers. I love bum fights. I bet them every day, over and over and over again. Pour myself a beverage and watch these
Right, watch it.
terrible
Yeah. I mean,
basketball
yeah, it's the prop game, of course, absolutely prop game, but those numbers are probably juiced also, right? Those numbers have probably moved when it comes to LaMelo or when it comes to Mason Plumlee, even when it comes to Saint Senguin or whatever. You know, these numbers have already been hit. So if you haven't bet on this game early, don't touch it.
Shout out to our guy Ray Han Hyder in the house, asking, man, we're going to be in Vegas this weekend now. Member of Pub Sports with us. Rayhan, man, got to get you on camera here, dude. We love you. A lot of us got to hang out with him in San Antonio at Pubapalooza, and there could be another Pubapalooza in the works we're going to know about here
Really?
very, very shortly.
Yeah, I missed that one.
Nut Flush On says Rockets are back in form from last year. That's why I texted you. He's doubling up on the team total against the Rockets. The Hornets team total. I'm gonna challenge this. I'm gonna challenge this. So we'll see how that bangs out here. Okay, let's move on to the next spot on the board here. 8 p.m. Eastern. Cleveland Cavaliers 28-17, 9-13 on the road. Memphis Grizzlies 30-13, 19-3 at home. FedEx Forum, Memphis, Tennessee. Von Polo says you guys need to come to Atlantic City. We still have the 4K that's been donated. That's for that Atlantic City trip. So we still have it. We still all want to do it. We just haven't given a date to it. I haven't given a date to it. All right, let's talk about the line history. It's going to happen 100%. It's going to happen in the next 12 months. We just don't know exactly when. Cavaliers, Memphis Grizzlies. Let's talk about this spot here. This is a beauty. These are two good basketball teams, even if there's no Donovan Mitchell. Memphis opening up at -7.5. They got up to 8. They're back at 7.5. From a total perspective, it opened up at 224.5 and it shot up to 227. And of course, it shot up. It should have shot up. Memphis playing at a pace at 106.7 possessions a game. They're flying right now. Cleveland 3-2 over the past 5, playing at a pace of 98.10 possessions a game. Spenny Penny Bombs looking at the Darius Garland double. Take a look at the cash here. 4,309 tickets in, 63% of the tickets, 64% of cash on Memphis. And 27% of the tickets, 46% of cash on the under, but it's moving to the over. Cavs coming off their second win in 3 games, 113-103 at home over the Pelicans on Monday. Spider strained his left groin with 5 minutes left in the third. He is not going to be available here.
So sad.
Cleveland will have LeVert and Lamar Stevens and Chetty and Isaac Okoro to play bigger roles now that there's no Spider. Garland did pick up the slack on Monday. 3 of his 5 threes came in the fourth quarter to get the win. He finished with 30 points, 11 assists, 6 boards. Jared Allen went for 24 and 11 boards. Mobley 19 and 8. Grizzlies coming off their 10th straight win, 136-106 at home over the Suns on Monday. They're looking to match their franchise record with a win here today. So it's a big deal. They shot 53.1% and 43.2% from 3 in the win on Monday. Their third straight game of at least 130 points. Ja went for 29 and 7 assists. Bane went for 28 points, 10 of 12 shooting. God, he's so good. Jaren Jackson shot 18 points, 8 boards, 6 blocks. Tyus Jones, 8 assists, 1 turnover. This team looks good. The Grizzlies are the first team since the 1985 Los Angeles Lakers to score 115 points in each game of a 10-game winning streak.
Yeah.
4th franchise in NBA history to accomplish this. Nuggets in 82 and 83, Celtics in 1959, and the Lakers in 1985. Take it away here, Derl. This is a nice-looking game. Cavs, Grizz.
You ready for this? Are you ready for this analysis here? Yeah. This is a deep dive. Deep dive, right? Probably not going to think where I'm going with this. Give me Memphis first quarter minus. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is. You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah, man. It's simple in the cap here. Now, I wouldn't talk anybody off the Memphis team total over, right? That might seem like automatic. Wouldn't talk anybody off Memphis trifecta. But in this type of game, I feel the best advantage Memphis has is that first quarter because of how fast they start and where they rank in first quarter scoring. And whenever you have a team that's in that top 4, top 5 in first quarter scoring, and you have another team that's in that bottom tier first quarter scoring, the likelihood that you're going to cover that first quarter A-tier spread is more likely than not. Bottom line, I've done this with Denver. I've done this with Minnesota. It just seems to work. -2.5 for a team that is averaging for the season 30 points in the first quarter. In the last 5, 33, 32 points versus a team that's averaging 27 points for the season. But in the last 5, they're down 22 to 23 points. In the last 3, maybe 26. There's nothing about this in a game that you don't have your fire starter in Donovan Mitchell that this game is going to get out of hand early. I believe that. Bottom line. So a team that can start fast, a team that's playing with this much swag right now, that's putting up 120, 130 points a game, putting up almost 40 points in the first quarter, is not going to have a problem winning by 2.5 points. So whichever way you want to look at it, man, you can take the trifecta if you'd like. I just think they are strongest in the first quarter. Couldn't talk anybody off that full game as well, but we cannot discredit. It is still Cleveland here that has trees at the bottom, that has a 3-point shooter in Garland. Now, will that work here against a team who's 19-3 at home right now? More likely not than yes, it will. But in my opinion, I do like the first quarter.
Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. Grizzlies first quarter -2.5 at -106 for Derl. That's available right now at Pinnacle. I guess I'm going to need a little bit more time on this game. Brizzy looking at first half says Grizz have the best first half home cover in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Kelly says Cavs are in a bad travel situation. 7th straight game without 2 games at home or 2 days off at home. BJ says Memphis matches up well against the Cavs. Triple J and Big Adams can handle Mobley and Allen down low.
I mean, these guys aren't even playing in the fourth quarter at times. It's crazy to me, right? Triple J's giving me like 26 minutes because they don't really need to play. This when you have a team that's firing on all cylinders like this, you wait until they kind of collapse before you get in front of them. And 10 games now, man, these guys are just putting in work.
Yeah, I get this look. Is there any concern with the old adage of the team stepping up without their star for the Cavs in that first game without their star?
Yeah, I mean, but there's been injury issues for the Cavaliers. I mean, these teams have had to do that. They've had to. I believe when you have Garland off the court, this may be a hot take. I believe Mitchell does better with Garland off the court than what Garland would do if Mitchell's off the court. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
So in this case here, I mean, you can't sleep on Cleveland. I mean, these guys, they have good players. This is a good team. But they're another one that they're just kind of complete opposite teams when they're home and away, right? Complete opposite. And so in this spot here, I think you need everybody. You need Mitchell in there with the team that's playing such fast a pace that's in Memphis right now in order to really, really get the job done. So for right now, because of how well Memphis is doing, I just think it's one of those things to where that team total over looks really good. And that first quarter looks the best, in my opinion. Couldn't talk anybody off the first half either. Because if it gets away the first quarter, they're not letting up in the second quarter. Right? So
Darryl has locked in. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is. Play of the day. Grizzlies first quarter -2.5 at -106. We move on. 8 p.m. Eastern. Miami Heat 24-21, 10-12 on the road. I'm at the New Orleans Pelicans 26-18, 17-5 at home with Smoothie King Center in New Orleans, Louisiana. Look at Dan Kelly on Cavs money line +250.
Oh wow.
Oh, shit.
Get it, Dan.
Shit. Miami 3-2 over their past 5, playing at a slow pace, 95.80 possessions a game. Pelicans 2-3, playing at a pace of 101.90 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Opens up with the Pelicans plus 1.5 at home. They're now plus 3.5. So we've had a 2-point move towards the Miami Heat. From a total perspective, it opened up at 221.5 and has dropped down to 219. Marcus Anderson says, what about Pub Sports Radio event in Latvia?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. If we could help with the flight costs, fuck yeah man.
They like black people in Latvia?
If they don't, then we won't go. How about that? If they don't, we won't go.
Right. Are there any black people in Latvia? That sounds so ignorant, man. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't have the answer. I wish I did. My Latvian info is. We can ask Marcus.
Yeah.
We can ask Marcus. Dan Kelly says charter a boat. All right, let's get to work here.
Black folks and boats, man. Not a good thing.
Miami Pelicans. Let's go to the cash flow here. 4,258 tickets in. 40% of the tickets and 87% of the cash on the Pelicans, and the lines moved 2 points towards the Heat. So do with that what you will. 49% of tickets on the under and 55% of the cash on the under. Heat had their 3-game winning streak snapped, a 121-113 loss at the Hawks on Monday. They look bad. They never led. They were down by as many as 26 in the first half. They came back a little bit. They got Tyler Hero back and Caleb Martin back. Kyle Lowry still out. Butler went for 34 in the game. Pelicans come in off their second loss in 3 games, 113-103 at Cleveland on Monday. CJ went for 25, but this team is starting to – the injuries are really starting to affect them. They held the fort together for a little while, but now it seems like the pressure and the weight is too heavy. Brandon Ingram hasn't played since November. Zion has missed the last 7 games, and Herbert Jones has missed the last 3. Jones has a chance to play tonight. LJ says Pelicans 12-2 in their last 14 games at home. Eddie Oler says Herbert doubtful. Okay, Herbert is doubtful. And Spenny Pennybaum's going back to the well on CJ McCollum 3s. Take it away here for us. Derl, Heat, Pelicans.
Yeah, so this one here is a gut play. It's a gut play. And I think it's just more, this is more of what you would call a narrative bet. And it totally goes against even what Mike M had put, where the Heat have won the last 4 first quarters as road faves versus the Pelicans. I am going New Orleans +1 first quarter. And the reason why I'm doing this is just more about narrative and desperation here. Miami lost Atlanta, beat Milwaukee twice, beat OKC twice, right? But in these games, Miami put up 26 against Atlanta, right? Put up a mere 28, but kept Milwaukee to 20 in the first game, and put up 14, right, to Milwaukee's 23. But they still won that game. I just feel that when you look at pace and scoring, obviously Miami Heat is a lot slower there, and they're kind of up and down in their scoring when it comes in the first quarter. And when I look at Pelicans' body of work and where they sit right now, losing to Cleveland, losing to Boston, losing to Dallas, losing to Brooklyn, those are games you probably want to get back. And I really, really feel that this is a game that they're going to really try to come out for. It's not against a conference opponent, if you will, right? Two different divisions, if you will. But I just feel like if this team can get to a fast start, which they have the capacity to do, they can at least come out competitive in the first quarter. I just don't feel like Miami's going to blow these guys out. Where Miami's work comes in is in the latter parts of the game. When the game is kind of settled in and you've got Jimmy collecting fouls and you've got this team kind of just grinding. This is more of this, bring your lunch pail to work type team in Miami. But being a fast starting team, I don't think so. I think this is a more, kind of wine and grind team. And New Orleans is a team that has the capacity to have a good start off, especially when you got CJ out there making threes and trying to set the tone early. So personally, this is a gut play. It's a narrative play between the two teams, and what I've seen in the most recent body of work, I've stepped on New Orleans +1 first quarter.
Shout out to D-Rock. Our guy D-Rock now,
D-Rock.
member of Pub Sports Radio, means a ton to us. They're trying to set us up to lose our shit. Eddie Euler wanted me to talk about the Vancouver Grizzlies. The chat wants you to talk about Staley and the Chargers. We're not going to do it, right?
Oh, God.
Let's stay cool. Let's just.
Oh, no. We have time today. We've got some fucking time today.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. What the fuck happened? Please. I guarantee your dad probably almost had a heart attack looking at this goddamn game. No fucking way in hell we lose this game. You're challenging fucking calls because you're scared. You know, how do you fire the OC and do not fire Staley?
Oh, that made me so angry.
What the fuck is going on? This is why I promise you I'm going to pray about this and I'm going to burn some sage and meditate. But I'm really, really thinking about retiring all my Chargers shit and just looking at another team right now. Because this Spanos family is fucking cursed. This team is fucking cursed. Staley, I don't know what he's on. I don't know what type of crack he's on. Man, this Chargers team is a mess. And the fact that you would take out the QB coach and Lombardi over Staley, as bad as he's been, no, I'm done, bro. I'm fucking done. What did your dad have to say about that?
He's a very angry guy.
Yeah, as he should.
Also, to make matters worse, he sent me a message because we had the NFL pop-up show from 2:30 to 4:30, and he sent me an email asking me to put $250 on the Jags. But I had Sonny sending me in bets right after the show, and then I had to take the kids to a birthday party, and so sure enough, I didn't see the email because I talked to him a couple times. I thought he would have asked me for. So then there was not even the silver lining of him cashing the 250 because I didn't even get the bet in. So it's just awful.
I knew it was over, man, when I saw it. Red Eyes is talking about Raiders. Goddamn, you would just put that in my face. Come on. Did you see Sam play the live bet on the Jags? Sam Comer put a live bet on the fucking Jags at halftime. And I was like, this is it. This is it. This is it. I'm done. Anyways, we can get back to basketball. But Darryl, yeah, I'm hurt, man. I'm hurt.
Yeah, no, you have every right to be. It was god awful. Darryl's on the Pelicans first quarter +1 at -110. Now, my concern here is how bad the Heat looked early with Hero and Caleb Martin back in the lineup. But I understand the idea that Pelicans at home, they're 17-5, and even with the injuries, they should be ready to rock early. I get it.
Yeah, it's more of a gut play, right? I mean, analytics and the data here really don't match. So I'm just going with more of a narrative here. This is really narrative. So it's an ugly play. Might not really agree with a lot of the points there, but I just do like the New Orleans first quarter here.
You got it. Let's roll on. This is the only team that Sports Insights has given any line value to, and they've given full line value to the Indiana Pacers, 23-22, 8-13 on the road at the Oklahoma City Thunder, 21-23, 13-9 at home. It's been a long time since we've had a record beside that franchise like that. Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. We'll start with the line history here for
cutting
this
up
one.
In the chat.
Let's get it up here. They like seeing you passionate, man.
This is bad, man. This is bad.
They love it. They love it. They tried to get me to talk about the Grizzlies. I don't want to talk about them anymore. I don't want to talk about the Canucks or the Grizzlies anymore. I don't ever want to talk about either franchise again for the rest of my life, to be honest with you. Oklahoma City opening up -4 at -105. They're now -4 at -109, even though the Pacers have full line value. This total opened up at 241. 241 is dropped down to 238.5. That's a big drop. Take a look at the cash flow for this one. 7,350 tickets in. The Pacers have 22% of the tickets and 42% of the cash. So there's clear, sharp action on them. This line at 4 for the Thunder is not moving. 79% of the tickets are on the under, and we see the bookies concerned about that number. We watch it drop. Pacers coming off their fourth straight loss, 132-119 at Milwaukee on Monday. Miles Turner back after missing 3 games with back spasms, went for 30 points, 11 of 17 shooting. And Halliburton still out, so he's missed the last 3 games. During the stretch without Halliburton, Indiana has allowed 125 points per game and is averaging 15.3 turnovers per game. Thunder come in off their third straight win, 112-102 at Brooklyn on Sunday, and it's giddy. Everybody wants to talk about them. 20 or more points in 3 consecutive games. Giddy scored at least 20 points in 8 of his last 12 games. This is going to be a really good basketball team at some point in the next couple of years. Are they a good one now? Take it away, Darryl. Pacers, Thunder.
Indiana, and I just don't get it here. Do you know they're still ranked last in first quarter scoring? Still. Averaging 26 points a game. Dead ass last, bro. And OKC is in the middle of the pack, man. OKC is sitting at 15th right now. Averaging 28.7 last 3, 32 points last 1, 28 points. Indiana, 26 points, 31 points in the last 3, and then 38 points in their last 1. So even in their last game, putting up almost 40 points, man, they still are dead ass last. And the only lean I have here would be OKC first quarter, right? I still to this day have not played on OKC. I still have not played a single play on OKC. And then to LJ's point, what happens with Indiana's second quarter? They are ranked second, right? 30.9 points. Number 2 in the league. Last 3, 31. Last 1, 38 points. So they have this terrible start in the first quarter. They shoot up and score all these points in the second quarter, right? And then that's how they cover these first halves. I wouldn't do anything on Indy side until I got Ollie back. Bottom line. Anything. So the lane here for me, do I just still carry the water and banking on Indy just being a terrible first quarter scoring team and just going with OKC here? OKC at home with all that talent, man. You got SGA. You can't tell me that this team cannot win by a point when they're averaging more than 2 points already in first quarter scoring. But Indy just put up almost a 40 burger. Now, mind you, that was, if I'm looking at it right, that last game that Indy played, that was against Milwaukee. And if I'm right against Milwaukee, there was no Giannis there at all, right? So in this one here, I'm leaning OKC first quarter. And then if I'm just going to go by the rhythm of the game, OKC first quarter, Pacers first half. That would be the way I would play this game. But it's just a lean. And I probably I would be more leaning toward the first quarter for OKC than the first half for the Pacers because there's no Ollie there. That guy is just an assist machine right now. He gets everyone involved. And because you're missing that now, the best play to me would be the OKC first quarter play. Maybe even full game here because they are at home and they do get up against really good teams. The problem that I've had with OKC also is it's really hard to see them as a favorite and not a dog, So what do you do in that case also? So for right now, I would look at OKC first quarter, heavy lean on that, but not official.
Wow. Look at the OKC's last 3 first halves at home against the spread differentials, +12, +26, +27. Ooh-wee. See, I think with Miles Turner back, the Thunder in a 4-point favorite spot, I would move on. I wonder if I can get a 4.5. The first move was towards the Pacers. It's come back a little bit. We're sitting here right now with 77% of the tickets on the Thunder and the line moving towards the Pacers.
That's always a red flag. Or there's what, one of two things or a few things, but it's either line manipulation or the sharps are hitting that Pacers.
I want the Pacers here. I think they can stay involved in this one, have it come down to the wire. I want the Pacers. Are you staying off the?
Yeah, I'm staying. It's just a lean for me, but it's not official. No.
I'm probably not going to bet it if Pinnacle still has it juiced towards the Grizzlies. Because if they're juiced, I'm going to wait. If I see still minus 109 on, the Grizzlies, the Thunder, I'm going to wait. Because then I think there is a chance for a 4.5 later, and I would prefer a 4.5. All right, let's move on. Pacers will be on my card, though, I expect. Let's move on. Next up for us, 9 p.m. Eastern, Los Angeles Clippers, 23-22, 10-12 on the road at the Utah Jazz, 23-24, 14-8 at home at UBS Arena in Salt Lake City, Utah. Clippers 2-3 over their past 5, playing at the pace at 96.7 possessions a game. Utah 3-2, playing at the pace at 101.50 possessions a game. Let's go into the line history here for this one. We have the Jazz opening up minus 6.5. They're now minus 5.5. So a 1-point move towards the Clip show.
Weird.
This total opened up at 227.5 for the pick'em. There's been a 4-cent move to the over. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. Just 1,672 tickets in, 35% of the tickets, 62% of the cash on the Jazz, but the market moving towards the Clippers. 90% of tickets on the over. 90% of tickets. We don't have a cash flow, but just a 4-cent move towards the over there. Clippers on the second half of a back-to-back after losing 120-110 at home to the Sixers last night. So George, Kawhi, Mann, Marcus Morris Sr., and Zubac were the starting 5, and that's the first time they've played together all year. George is not going to be in the lineup tonight. He will be resting. Luke Kennard's also missed 5 straight. Utah comes in off a 126-125 win at Minnesota on Monday. And Lauri Markkanen's missed 2 games in a row due to a hip injury. He's listed as questionable. And 7 Utah players scored in double figures. Clarkson went for 21 in that game. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Clippers, Jazz.
No way in hell I would bet the Clippers right now. Nothing official here. But the Clippers have fumbled the bag twice. They did it with Philly yesterday. We saw how the line, somebody mentioned that in the comments, how there was line manipulation yesterday, right? A lot of people were on the Clippers. You saw some movement get there. Clippers tricked the bag off there. But what made me even not bet the Clippers game yesterday was what they had did previously in Denver or against Denver, where Joker was ruled out, and they still tricked that game off and lost it at home, right? Now you've got the Jazz. You've got some injuries here. And this line goes from 6.5 to 5.5. What the fuck is betting the Clippers right now to make that line move down? Right? I don't get it. I don't get it here. Looking at the most recent body of work, right now, the Jazz are better first quarter, first half score, first and second quarter scores. They're better than the Clippers, right? But in their most recent body of work and what they're doing lately, that scoring has come down. So I just don't have a read here enough to really bet anything with the Clippers, and I'm definitely not going there with the Jazz. And I would just wait to see what happens with Lauri Markkanen. Maybe that is why the numbers moved down, because there is no Lauri Markkanen plan. So Jazz first quarter is where I was looking at, but the numbers have been pretty even as of lately, and I just don't want any smoke with the Clippers at all. This would just be the day that the Clippers do some stupid shit like that. What did I tell you last time we were talking about? I said, look, this was last Wednesday, right? I said, or Friday it was, watch this be the game that the Clippers play to where you got Joker ruled out, everybody's on the Clippers, and they still lose. I said that, and they still lost that damn game. So, nothing I would even bet on for the side of the Clippers. I don't like that there has been a little line movement here. Maybe Lauri is not playing. But yeah, I would have to see if he does play first to even be more confident about the Jazz. But for right now, no play for me.
Strange to see the 1-point move towards the Clippers. With Paul George ruled out. So, yeah, I can understand.
Off a back-to-back, man. I mean, this is
very strange.
Crazy.
And with elevation, I mean, Dan Kelly said Clips playing 4th game in 6 days, 8th game in 14 days, could have trouble going from sea level to elevation. All right, no moves for us here. 2 games left on the NBA card before we picked out 11 games in college basketball for Daby Cab and myself to break down. Let's move on. Minnesota Timberwolves 22-23, 8-13 on the road at Denver Nuggets 30-13, 19-3 at home. We're at Ball Arena, Denver, Colorado. Minnesota 3-2 over the past 5, playing the pace of 100 possessions a game. Denver 5-0, playing the pace of 99.10 possessions a game. We'll start with the line history here and then go into the cash. Line history-wise, this opened up with the Nuggets at -7.5. They're now at -8. From a total perspective, it opened up at 236.5. It's now at 237.5. It's a high total, but the Wolves, especially when they have nobody in the paint defending, these scores can go up pretty quick. We have 2,686 tickets in. 49% of the tickets, 89% of the cash on the Denver Nuggets, 76% of the tickets, 92% of the cash on the over, and it's gone up a point from 236.5 to 237.5. Minnesota comes in off having their modest 2-game winning streak snapped in a 126-125 loss at home to Utah on Monday. No Karl Anthony Towns since November 28th. He'll be out for at least a couple more weeks, and Rudy Gobert might be the worst trade. It could go down. It's possible with the draft picks that Utah's going to have the worst trade in the history of
the worst trade, the worst fleecing ever imagined.
It could go down as the worst ever. There's Matty Ice in the house. Great to see you.
Matty.
Going to copy and paste that so we can discuss it when Daby Cab joins us. Thank you for sharing that with us, Matty. So without Towns or Gobert, Edwards has to step up in a big way, and he really isn't. Not to the when I see him play, I'm like, this guy's got it all, but he's just not taking.
He's frustrated. He's frustrated, and he's young, and he does not like Gobert. He doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't understand that trade. Kind of was talking about it underneath his breath, right? And then we see also what's going on with D'Lo. You heard his comments, right? Recently. So this team is all out of sorts. All out of fucking sorts.
Yeah, it's a absolute mess. I feel bad for Minnesota fans because it reminds me of a Canucks move when you're finally getting out into a spot where you're going to have first round draft picks. You're not going to be buried. You're going to have assets. Now you have no assets, and you have Rudy Gobert, it seems like he's just disliked by everybody. For the Nuggets, though, Michael Malone, NBA health and safety protocol. David Edelman will be serving as the acting head coach. Nuggets on the second half of a back-to-back after their 7th straight victory last night, 122-113 at home versus Portland. We've seen a lot of these spots, second half back-to-backs, where Jokic doesn't play. Take it away for us here, Derl. Timberwolves, Nuggets.
Line doesn't tell me that. Line does not tell me that, right? And I think somebody sits besides good. Maybe more than one person sits on Minnesota side. Taurean Prince questionable. Gobert is questionable. Anthony Edwards is questionable. One of those guys aren't going to play. One of them's not going to play. And if one doesn't play, I'm telling you right now, this is a Denver spot if I haven't seen it. So this is the first thing we're going to say. LJ is definitely right about these first quarter, these two teams specifically in the first quarter. They are the top scoring first quarter teams. In spite of all the turmoil that's going on in Minnesota, these guys come out and ball and can score points in the first quarter. Bottom line. Right now, it's Denver at 31 points, right? Minnesota is ranked fourth at 30 points. Last three, Denver's giving you 32.3. And in the last three from Minnesota, they've given you 29. So it seems like you could get there with Denver in the first quarter. Mind you, Denver did not cover their last first quarter. If I'm right, I'm looking right now. Maybe someone can, I believe in that Utah game. I'm looking just to make sure. Minnesota only put up 27 points in that Portland game. Yeah, okay. They covered that by a half. It was 2.5, and they covered it by 3. So Denver's actually doing pretty good in the first quarter right now, right? So I wouldn't knock anybody for looking at Denver first quarter. I'm just thinking in the long run is where this game is going to get out of hand for Minnesota. Denver right now 8-2 in their last 10 ATS. I'm just going to go back to the well with this. Denver -8 full game. I like that play.
Yeah, I get it. Even on the second half of a back-to-back. Huh.
And a lot of people are liking the first quarter. I like that. I do like that. I should make that official, but I'm not. I don't want to get stuck in that. But I've already made that play at -8. I just think if you like Denver in any capacity, take them now because this is going to move again. This line is definitely going to move again.
Well, there are 7.5s on the board. I'm curious to see. Let's move over to one of those books here that's on a 7.5. So Bet365 is not one of them. How about we'll look at Bovada? They moved it to 7.5 6 minutes ago. Bookmaker moved it to 7. Bookmaker's always been open this up at 7.5 at 8:04 a.m. So it's still at 7.5. So the Heritage, I guess Bet Chris and Bookmaker are sharp books, but let's see what
if they're moving right now. I think it's just more trying to get equal action on both sides. Me personally.
Huh. And Billy's saying Bookmaker just moved it back to 7.5.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit more time here, but I certainly get your thought process here. I certainly do. We'll get you that 7.5. That's 7.5. Wow. 5 dimes hanging a 7, but that's at -119.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like 7.5 at -110 or 7 at -119?
I'll go 7 for a push. So it's a little bit of vig there. But
7 at -119. All right, this is going to take a little bit more time, but we have Derl locked in. Nuggets -7, -119 available right now at 5 dimes. Let's talk about the final game on the card, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Sacramento Kings. You've had a really nice read on them this year, Derl. 24-18, 10-9 on the road at the LA Lakers. 20-24, 11-10 at home. We're Crypto in Los Angeles, California. Sacramento 4-1 over the past 5, playing at the pace of 100.80 possessions a game. The Lakers 2-3, playing at the pace of 100.51 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have the Lakers opening up as 4-point dogs. They're now 4.5-point dogs. Totals wise, this opened up at 245. And now it's at 245.5. Neither of these teams playing at a pace of 101 possessions a game. The Lakers' pace has slowed considerably. They were playing 106 possessions a game. They're down to 100.5. 45.5 points here. Absolutely wild. Let's see what the cash has to say about it. 5,982 tickets in. 43% of the tickets and 90% of the cash on the Lakers, but it's a half point for the Kings. Then 42% of the tickets and 80% of the cash on the over. Big bets on the over. Wow. Wild stuff here. Kings coming off their 4th straight win, 132-119 at the Spurs on Sunday. Harrison Barnes playing some good ball right now. 29 points. De'Aaron went for 23. Sabonis 18 and 18. Wow. During the 4-game winning streak, Harrison Barnes averaging 25.5 points a game. That's more than 10 points higher than his season average. Sabonis was named most recent Western Conference Player of the Week. He averaged 18.5 points, 14.3 boards, 10.3 assists. Lakers snapped their 3-game losing streak with 140-132 win at home over the Rockets on Monday. LeBron put up a season-high 38 points. He is averaging 37 over his last 7 games. 37 points, 9.7 boards, 8.6 assists. Unbelievable. 315 points away from matching Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's all-time NBA scoring record. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Kings, Lakers.
You know where I like Sacramento?
Early.
I like them in the first half. And the reason why I like them in the first half is because of how well they score in the second quarter. So LA could give you actually a really good first quarter. If you look at their numbers, LA doesn't do too bad in the first quarter, or actually they weren't and they kind of fell off and they're up and down. But I think this is a spot to where we can take Sacramento because of how well they do in the second quarter. Sacramento should win the first quarter, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was slow. And the only reason why LA has kind of jumped up in the rankings because they're averaging 59 points in the first half. They put up 73 in the last game. right? But Sacramento is averaging 60. The last 3, they've given you 66. And the last one, they were only giving you 63 points. So if I think that at the end of the first half, this game could be 63-60, I absolutely believe that. I absolutely believe that. Now, Sacramento being away, this is something that we decided not to do. And that was play their first quarter and then see how it goes. Maybe live bet them. But they have had tendencies in the past to, when they are not playing at home, they trick off these first quarters and got to grind back and then lose the game. So this game could be close first quarter. Sacramento pulls away in the second quarter, and then you've got this competitive game in the second half. Excuse me. So my favorite play already stepped on it. In this situation here, would be Sacramento Kings first half -2.5.
Well, there's twos at a bunch of books, so we can get you -2 and -109.
Okay, I'll do that.
Let's get Kings first half -2, -109. Eddie Willis' Lakers won by 270 points, sailed over in Sacktown on January 7th. Grit and Grinds is Ohio State, Nebraska under, and Cincinnati, South Florida under. We're going to talk about both those games here shortly with Dabra Cadabra. Let's review all NBA action from our guy. It's Derl. And great to have you rolling with us, Derl. Let's go. So Darryl gets his card started with the first quarter over 54.5 and -110 in Washington Wizards, New York Knicks. Then I'm going to be on the under in Hawks, Mavericks, and I might even be on the Hawks as well. I'm going to be on the under in Charlotte, Houston. Darryl's on the Grizzlies first quarter -2.5 and -106. He's on the Pelicans first quarter +1 and -110. I'm going to be on the Pacers full game, but I'm curious to see if I can get a 4.5 and not stick with the 4. Clippers, Jazz, we stayed off. Darryl's on the Nuggets -7 at -109 or 119. Excuse me. I'm interested in that spot, but I want to see why this move over the last half hour or so has been in play. I just want to kind of study it a little longer. Darryl's on the Kings first half -2 at -109, and that is our NBA coverage here on Wednesday, January 18th. And Darryl will be right back in action with us on Friday, January 20th. That'll be the last Friday that Dutch is unavailable. He'll be back in action again on the 27th. But we got Darryl double dipping with Darryl here this week. Darryl, excellent work, my man. Thank you for rolling with us. I enjoy Capping NBA with you immensely. Let the chat know where we can find you. It's Darryl. What's your schedule for the rest of the week here at Pub Sports as well?
Yeah, so I'm back tomorrow at 1 with the Pub Hub. So I'll be with Ski and Dutch. And then back with you on Friday.
Beautiful.
So it might be an opportunity to really get some wins here. 5 plays a day, man. Let's go 5-0, and then let's you and I get back on Friday and knock it out.
I love it. Thank you for rolling with us, Darryl, my man. What a great guy and a great capper. There he is. We go from NBA to college basketball. Your next guest challenged himself. We didn't have a very good Wednesday. He challenged himself on Thursday, and he swept the board on Thursday, moving in the right direction. Please welcome from Dallas, Texas, Dabra Cadabra in the house. What up, Daby Cab? How are you, my man?
Jimmy, ready to be here, man. Ready to rock. Glad to be here. Glad to see you guys in the chat. I've been seeing some college basketball going back and forth in the chat. I love seeing it. I love the excitement. A lot of good games today, man. I'm excited. Ready to get to this shit.
There are a lot of good games. Rob Free says Bonnie's money line at the house, folks. Thank me tomorrow. That was a late cut too, because we try to keep it to 10 games here, and I did want to talk about that Bonnie's game. I'm going to copy and paste that from Rob Free here. All right, well, let's get to work. Daby, you're coming off board sweepage on Thursday. Much needed board sweepage. So let's keep rolling. Let's stay hot. We open up at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. The now number 15th ranked UConn Huskies, 15-4, but 4-4 in the Big East at the Seton Hall Pirates, 11-8. Also 4-4 in the Big East. We're at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. Let's take a look at the line history here and then set a quick table for our man Daby Cab. The Huskies have had a tough time come conference play for them. They look like a top seed, and they no longer look like that. Seton Hall opening up as 5-point dogs. This got down to 4, but they're right back as 5-point dogs. That's a bookmaker. Sorry, let me move over to Pinnacle. Same thing at Pinnacle. Total wise, it's opened up at 136. It's dropped a point to 135. Let's get over to the cash flow here for this one. 3,650 tickets in. Not a lot of help here with the side. 44% of the tickets are on Seton Hall and 50% of the cash. And then totals wise, 54% of the tickets and 80% of the cash on the under. And it has moved down a point. I guess that gives me some interest in the under here. Huskies coming off their second straight loss in 4th in 5 games, 85-74 at home. The St. John's on Sunday as 14.5-point favorites. You have to think that there's a bounce back in store from them, or maybe they're just not nearly as good as we thought they were before they entered conference play. Seton Hall comes in off its 3rd straight win, 71-67 at DePaul on Saturday as 4-point favorites. Take it away for us here, Daby Cab, UConn, Seton Hall, Big East play.
One thing I want to remind everyone about basketball is it's, man, ebbs and flows. Like, when we question, like, you know, how good these teams are and stuff, like Baylor is a good example. We've been getting some good opportunities to cash on Baylor recently because of how bad they play early. UConn, are they maybe, you know, one of the best teams in the country? Maybe not. Maybe we overreacted there, but are they still a tournament team? Are they still a very good basketball team? Yeah, they're a really good basketball team. This is a tough spot for me. I'm just going to jump out and say it. I'm on UConn first half. I got -2. I don't know what there is out there anymore. But I'm on UConn in the first half here. One thing people might have noticed is even through the struggles that UConn has had these past few games, they have been covering the first half. It's something that they've been doing. 2-3 on the road, UConn this year. They're averaging 79.7 points per game. That's good for 34th. They're allowing 63.7. That's good for 47th. So, like, still a very, like I said, solid basketball team. They had a tough schedule out of conference. And this is a Seton Hall team who's 7-2 on their home court, but their losses are to Iowa, or that early loss to Iowa, and then also Providence at home. So what I'm getting at is Seton Hall, they struggle against better teams. Doesn't matter if they're at home, doesn't matter if they're on the road. And Seton Hall at home has struggled scoring here. They're putting up 69.6 points per game. They're 233rd on defense, allowing 63.8, or excuse me, they're 233rd on offense, and they're good on defense, only allowing 63.8. But I do not see UConn having that much trouble still scoring, because one thing UConn has shown is that they're still going to be able to score the basketball. I like UConn here. I like them early. Seton Hall struggles scoring flat out, and I see an angry UConn team desperately needing a win coming out early and being ahead.
Yeah, that's an angle that does make sense. Troy Torrance says he wants UConn, says Seton Hall with no covers as a home dog in 3 years. No covers as a home dog in 3 years.
Wow.
That's wild. That's a wild stat. I get it. I get why you expect UConn to come out hungry and rolling early, especially after that debacle on Sunday at home. I get it. UConn -2. The only -2 we can get you is a -116. First half -2. Is that okay, juice wise?
What did you? I'm sorry, I was reading it. What was my
-2, -116.
Yeah, I'll take it. I think they come out early. I almost doubled up on this game, but I'm going to stay away from the double up, knowing that UConn's at least been covering the first half. So they're just Mally Mal said it in the chat. They're just the better team. Seton Hall's, they can't score. The Seton Hall's played defense, like I said, 49th ranked defense, but these defenses are comparable. UConn's defense is 47th. They're only allowing 63.7 versus the 63.8. So the defenses are very comparable. And I know we don't just go off of numbers, but UConn's offense is a fuck ton better than Seton Hall's. End of story. Defenses are comparable. UConn needs to win. I'll take them first half.
And there's no injuries to blame UConn's poor conference run on, really. I get that they would be ready to go early, but I have difficulty figuring them out. if this was a rare loss, but God, they've lost 4 or 5 here. All right, I'm interested in the under. What do you think of this under? It looks like Sharp Cash is on the under. Do you think, you talked about Seton Hall at home, not ranked very high defensively, but they can be tough to get buckets on. What do you think of this total right now?
I like the under. Both of these defenses can play, and UConn struggled scoring on the road. Their numbers are not as good on the road scoring as they are overall for the season, obviously. I just want to point one thing out, though, about UConn. That St. John slip-up, that was the peak. That's the peak. We're about to see, like, that loss is unacceptable. But Marquette, Providence, Xavier, those are very good teams. They were all on the road. I mean, top teams, not just in the conference, but in the country. UConn's still a good basketball team. St. John's is unacceptable, and it's now or never for them right now.
I get it. Grit and grind. Also looking at the under. Mally Mal's got UConn first half over 32.5 team total. Lucas Ryan agreeing on that take. Mally Mal says UConn covers today. Complete better team. Okay, let's move on. I'm looking very closely at that under in Daby Cabs on UConn first half -2, -116. We head to Charlottesville, Virginia, John Paul Jones Arena. Virginia Tech Hokies 11-6, 1-5 in the ACC. They've lost 5 straight games. At number 10 ranked Virginia Cavaliers 13-3, 5-2 in conference play. We have the Virginia Cavaliers opening at -6.5. They're down to -5. They got down to -4.5. So a 2-point move towards Tech, now 1.5-point move. Totals wise has opened up at 126.5 and has not moved. Let's go over to the cash flow for this one. Virginia Tech. Shoot, here we go. We have some line value on Virginia Tech. 4,157 tickets in, 64% of the tickets and 81% of the cash. Then we have 56% of tickets and 62% of the cash on the under. That under has not a 2-cent move to the under. There had been a 7-cent move, but it's come back here. Tech comes in off its 5th straight loss, 82-72 at Syracuse last Wednesday's 2.5-point favorites. Virginia comes off its 3rd straight win, 67-58 at Florida State as 9-point favorites. Boogie Main in the house. Great to see you. Take it away for us here, Cab. ACC battle, Virginia Tech, Virginia.
This is a tough one. One thing that's important to look into is Couture. He's supposed to be back today. Everything that I've read seems like he's going to be back. Anybody betting the game, that's something you want to know, if he's going to be back or not. He's one of their better 3-point shooters, probably their second best, Virginia Tech's second best 3-point shooter. And without question, he's their best defensive player. He's absolutely just an animal on defense. So you want to look at that. Virginia has been solid this year. They've got wins against Baylor, Illinois, Michigan, Syracuse, North Carolina. I mean, those are all very good wins. So anybody thinking Virginia here, this team is proven. I can go back and forth against myself for different reasons in this game for both sides, specifically because it's a rivalry game. If this wasn't a rivalry game, it'd be an easier cap for me. I'd be all over Virginia if this wasn't a rivalry game. But the fact that it's a rivalry game, that 5.5 scares the shit out of me. Virginia is 16th in adjusted defense efficiency. They have a lot of experience on the court, which is something I love. But, Virginia Tech's good too. They're 61st in adjusted defense efficiency. Virginia Tech doesn't turn the ball over very much. They shoot 54% from a 2-point range. So decent enough team to where, I don't know. I'd lean Virginia 5.5, but this is tough for me right here.
Yeah, this opened up at
7.5. I wouldn't have touched. 7.5, no chance. 5.5, maybe Virginia. I think Virginia wins. I think they win the game. I don't know if that helps a 5.5 spread though.
And Gerald Jones got the 7 this morning on Virginia Tech. Nice job. That's a big beating. There's Ron Crawford in the house. Hope you're feeling better, Ron. My guy, Ron, dealing with COVID right now. Eddie Oiler got Virginia -4.5, -120. Clearly, there should be some concern here with the market moving to Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I would have taken Virginia. I mean, if you got the 7.5, I mean, I'm not taking Virginia at 5.5. If you give me a 3.5, I might bet Virginia. Maybe. I might want a 2.5 to bet Virginia on this. I think they win this game. I'm just saying I'm not going to. It's a rivalry game, and both these teams can play defense. You got some very good defense, so it's low volatility in a rivalry game. The higher the spread is in a low volatility, like look at the total, right? You can tell by the total that they don't expect a ton of points here. So the less points you have, the harder it is to cover a larger spread, right? Like, I mean, and I know we all know that, but it's good to repeat those things out loud.
Interesting spot. This total opened up a better line at 129, so it's dropped a lot. I feel like I'm too late to the party, although it would be under or no bet, but I feel like I'm too late to the party.
It's one of the things that's tough with college basketball, Jimmy, is because these lines move so much sometimes. By the time we're here, it's, do you want to chase the line or not? And sometimes I try and set the principle that I'm just not going to do it, but then I do it. So I don't know. I can't help with that.
It's tricky. It's always tricky. So no action here from Daby Cab. I do have some interest in the under. Let's move on. We have perfect timing from our Ron Crawford. He's given us the NCAA spreadsheet play of the day, and it is the Horned Frogs of TCU. Shout out to our Ron Crawford. We have the spreadsheet play today in. We have the taint play today in. We're going to go over both. But first up, spreadsheet. Number 14th ranked TCU Horned Frogs, 14-3, 3-2 in the Big 12. At West Virginia Mountaineers, 10-7, but a very ugly 0-5 in conference play. Coming off their fifth straight loss, a tough one, 77-76 at Oklahoma on Saturday's 3-point dogs. TCU snapped their 2-game losing streak on Saturday, defeating Kansas State at home 82-68 as 4.5-point favorites. Let's start with the line history and then move in to the cash flow. God, I got too many things open here. Move this over here. Get this. Here we go. We have TCU opening up as 2-point dogs. That was at minus 108. That 2 is now at plus 101. It was at 3. It was at 3 around 8:45 this morning Eastern.
Yeah, I'm not going to get what I got on this sucks. Again, my lines are going to be different on here. So anyways, keep going. I'm sorry.
No worries. No, Will, this is important to discuss. This total opened up at 148. It's now 149. Eddie Euler leaning to the TCU West Virginia over. Billy Friedrich saying TCU 3-0 against the spread on the road. West Virginia 4-5 against the spread at home. Lee Davis says the toughest conference in college basketball. Rob Free says this TCU West Virginia game reminds me of Kansas State yesterday. Robert Franklin got in on TCU earlier. Let's take a look at the cash.
This reminds me of Baylor game yesterday, not the Kansas game, but I just wanted to tell you that, Rob. I think this reminds me of the Baylor game yesterday. Go ahead. Sorry, Jimmy.
No worries. 4,309 tickets in, 58% of the tickets on TCU, and 95% of the cash. 54% of the tickets and 64% of the cash on the over. And we've seen this total go up a point from 148 to 149. Take it away here for us, Daby Cab, TCU, West Virginia.
I hate hearing the cash like that, but I mean, I guess at least the line's reacting a little bit to it. It hasn't reacted much. So when I got TCU, I got them at plus 1.5 in the first half. When we look at this TCU team, 46 in the country, they're shooting 46%. They struggle from deep. Okay. They're not good at shooting threes. 350th. We'll get that out of the way. But TCU plays very good defense. They're holding the opponents to 40.9% shooting. You guys know how I feel about Mike Miles Jr. He's one of my favorite players to watch play. An absolute blast. West Virginia is 21st in adjusted offense efficiency and 48th on defense. So, and they have the 14th toughest schedule. So West Virginia is a very good basketball team. Let's touch on the fact that what we're saying here about this conference, the Big 12 is the best conference, probably, I would say, this year. It is a very, very tough conference to play in. And West Virginia right now, lost their last 5. They lost to OU, they lost to Baylor, they lost to Kansas, they lost to Oklahoma State, and they lost to Kansas State. So I know some people are saying, oh, this is a very good team. Like we're expecting them to win, but that's the same thing people were saying about Tech yesterday. And shout out to Ron, because I'm pretty sure his spreadsheet play of the day was Baylor yesterday. I don't know if you got to catch it, Jimmy, but I got the cap with Pete. It was awesome, a lot of fun. I was also on Baylor first half, and Tech had just lost, and I was trying to say, maybe this Tech team is just not great. Like, because in order to win in this conference, you have to be great, not good. You have to be great, and I'm not so sure either of these teams are great, but I think TCU is a little bit better, and giving me plus points in the first half in a situation like this is something that I like. So I'm on TCU in the first half here. I got plus 1.5. I don't know what's still available.
Yeah, no, it's widely available, the plus 1.5 right now, and even at minus 110. So no concern there. There are some books that moved it to plus 1. Here we go. So the over seems like there's sharp action on it. What do you think of this total?
If I was going to play this total, I'd probably look under, I would think, if I'm playing this total. I know West Virginia, both of these teams play good defense. Both of these teams are going to have a lot of defense. I think this is going to be a very tightly contested game throughout. Yeah, I'd look under if I was going to play the total.
All right. Well, then I will add question marks beside the over. But Cab is in. TCU first half plus 1.5 at minus 110. Mal's on TCU half and the game. You certainly want to see some line movement towards TCU if you're on them right now. I mean, that 95% of the cash is a lot. And right now,
real quick, this TCU team, do they have a couple losses? Yes, but let's go. We've talked about how tough this conference is, right? So let's look at their last 5 conference games really quick. The win at Texas Tech, 67-61. They beat Baylor only by 1 point, but that was at Baylor. You go into Baylor and you win. That's a good fucking win. They lost to Iowa State, who we all know is a very, very hot Iowa State team, and they only lost by 2 points, okay, in that game. Then they lost to Texas, who I think very highly of, and then they smashed Kansas State, who we can all say was maybe looking ahead to Kansas, but whatever. TCU smashed Kansas State. This is just one of those things where you're giving me points with the team that I think has proven themselves better.
Yeah, I get it. And I can understand what Justin McElvee's looking at. Unranked, home dog is favored against ranked team at 95% of money on TCU, and he says he loves West Virginia.
I hated hearing the money. I hated it, but I've already bet it, and you know what I do. I stick with what I'm at.
All right, we move on. 7 p.m. Eastern, number 16th ranked Auburn Tigers, 14-3. Just 2-2 on the road this year at LSU. Tigers, 12-5, have been very good at the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. Baton Rouge, they're at 9-1. 9-1 at home there. Let's take a look at the line history for this one. Auburn, LSU. Auburn opening up as 6-point road favorites. That got down to 4.5. It's at 5 right now. Total wise, it opened up at 137.5. It got up to 139. It's back at 138. So it's been a half-point move there. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. 2,331 tickets in, 66% of the tickets, 79% of the cash on LSU, and the market moving towards them. Then you have 69% of the tickets and 88% of the cash on the over, and did move up to 139. Now it's back to 138, but there we go. So Auburn comes in off its third straight win, 69-63 at home over Mississippi State on Saturday as 7-point favorites. They turned the ball over 20 times in that win. Mississippi State was 0 for 18 from 3 in that basketball game. So let's not get too caught up in that. They didn't even cover against a Mississippi State team and went 0 for 18 from 3. LSU comes off its 4th straight loss, and it was an ugly one. 106-66 at Alabama on Saturday. Take it away for us here, Cab. Auburn, LSU.
Okay. This game, I hate betting Auburn. I hate it. I hate betting Auburn. I've done it a couple times this year. I lean Auburn here. Auburn, a solid defense. Anybody who's watched them play, like just the reach, the wingspan on this team compared to other teams, you can just instantly see it when you're watching the game. 29th in points allowed on defense. Jalen Williams has been outstanding. But then we look at LSU, even though they've been reeling. Tigers are 9-1 at home. They're ranking 190th in scoring offense, 103rd in scoring defense. So they're above average on both sides. But the thing is, things have just been getting worse and worse for LSU. Losing to Bama by 40 is just fucking unacceptable. In 2 of the last 3 games, LSU hasn't even been able to put up 60 points. So while I know Auburn struggles at shooting, and I don't really love betting Auburn, I don't even really like this Auburn team, if I'm being honest. I can't get behind LSU right now. I would only be on Auburn.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, do you trust the coaching staff at LSU? Because it should be a bounce back spot from their 9-1 at home this year.
Yeah. This is tough. This is tough for me. And I don't, the last thing I want to do, like you always say, is talk a friend off a dog. I'm not betting Auburn. So I'm not putting my money where my mouth is here. If it wasn't just God, I watched LSU lose by 40 points, and I know we got to get those things out of our head, and I'll learn with experience. Because I know you have better experience letting things like that go, but fuck, it was just so hard to watch. Yeah,
the biases are, you need to talk about them out loud because they're
good. Then I'm glad I said that. So then I just want you to know there's bias in my mind right now that I probably need to let go of.
Well, let's just take a quick walk through of LSU's last few home games here, because I have this, they just got embarrassed. They got embarrassed on Saturday, so they had 4 days to sit with it. Now they come back home here. Let's just take a look at their last few games.
I got it here for you. So their last home game was Florida. They lost to Florida 56-67. Their last 4 games, they've lost 4 in a row. They lost to Kentucky 71-74 on the road, which didn't look so bad at the time. They did beat Arkansas, who's just this Arkansas team's just reeling right now. But they lost to Kentucky, who we've seen has struggled. They lost to A&M by 13. They lost to Florida by 12, and then they lost to Alabama by 40. So their last 3 games, they've lost by 13, 11, God, I'm bad at math, and 40.
I mean, they were outscored 59-22 in that first half in Alabama. How do they not come back here? Okay.
I'll tell you one thing, too. Auburn does – when Auburn wins games, like they find a way to make it like the most stressful, ridiculous, last-second shit sometimes. Like Auburn seems to make every game as close as they possibly can.
All right. Rob Free said, after the Florida game, I realized no money can be made betting LSU. Okay. I can this is an LSU or no bet for me. I don't need to move on it. I mean, we are sort of talking about a public dog here. They are a home dog, and the market is moving in their direction, but 67% of tickets, 79% of cash. Just feels like a spot where they should bounce back. Ron Crawford says Auburn only at home. I think the 5 is just probably too many points. LSU's got to be able to keep it tight here in a spot where they're comfortable, where they must bounce back. And look how bad Auburn was against Mississippi State. I mean, that was bad. I mean, how you turn the ball over 20 times.
That's what I'm saying. They're gross, Jimmy. They're just a gross basketball. I don't know how they win games. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. They do it, though. So it's that length. It's that fucking when you watch this damn team, and I know we got a lot of people with range, but everybody on Auburn seems to have like a fucking 80-foot wingspan.
I'm going to move on LSU plus the 5. I want the 5, at least the 5. Okay, let's move on to Big Ten basketball. 7 p.m. Eastern, Ohio State Buckeyes, 10-7, 2-4 in conference at the Nebraska Cornhuskers, 9-9, 2-5 in conference. And we have our taint play of the day. It is right here, Ohio State, Nebraska. The taint play of the day is the under 136.5 for our man, Matty Ice. Taint is in. All
shit,
right,
I clapped too early. I'm not on the opposite side, but I heard Ohio State. I was like, let's go. Because I was on a spreadsheet play of the day. Okay. Anyways, go ahead.
Okay, here we go. Nebraska opening up as 5-point dogs. They got up to 6.5-point dogs. They're sitting as 6-point dogs right now at Pinnacle. Totals wise, it's opened up at 138. It got up to 138.5, but it's at 137.5 presently. So it has dropped a half point. Let's take a look at the cash for this one. And we have 2,991 tickets in. 24% of the tickets, 46% of the cash on Nebraska. I've had some great success with Nebraska this season. And the Sharps seem to be on them here at home. 24% of the tickets, 46% of the cash. The market isn't moving in their direction, though. 55% of the tickets and just 16% of the cash on the under. So big bets have come in on this over. Ohio State comes in off its 4 straight loss, 68-64 in overtime at Rutgers on Sunday as 3-point dogs. We know how tough it is to play Rutgers now at Rutgers, and that was a tough loss for them, 4 straight losses. Nebraska comes in off its 2nd straight loss, 73-55 at Purdue on Friday as 16-point dogs. Eddie Euler leaning towards the Ohio State-Nebraska under. Grit and Grind says he'd take the points with Nebraska, and he is on the under. He says, I'm on the under in Ohio State, my team, but just dysfunctional on offense. Take it away here, Daby Cab. We're in Lincoln, Nebraska, Ohio State, and Nebraska Cornhuskers.
You know, one thing I don't think that, and maybe I need to do a better job of making sure I bring some of this information in also, is that we don't talk about not only up here, but as a chat as a whole, is the injury and the player situation in college basketball. I don't want to compare it to the NBA but it's in college basketball, it's huge. If you're missing a top player on a college team, like that whole team can fall apart. I mean, everything can fall apart. A lot of what Ohio State has done recently was without Zed Key, and they needed Zed Key, and they have Zed Key back. I know he was back last game, but how healthy was he? And he's getting healthy. I like this Ohio State team, and I also want to address one thing in the chat. And shout out to everybody in the chat. And anytime I address something, whether my opinion's with you or against you, I appreciate the hell out of every single one of you, because all I ever want to do is learn. And he said no chalk in Big Ten on the road. And I agree with that full game, which is why I go first half when I bet shit like this. So I got Ohio State here. Let me look. I don't know because I guess it's moved. I got 2.5 Ohio State in the first half on this game. Some of the numbers: Ohio State's only 7-10 against the spread this year, but Nebraska is not any better. 6-12 against the spread. Ohio State's putting up 78.1 points per game. They're shooting 47.4% from the field, pretty good. 38.7% from deep, also good. Defense is only allowing 66.3 points per game, holding opponents to 40.3% shooting. Nebraska, on the flip side, they are the worst three-point shooting team in the conference. Nebraska is shooting 332nd in the nation. They're one of the worst free throw shooting teams in the country, 338th. Think about what I don't care if they're perfect today. Just off of that number alone, how are you 338th from the free throw line as Nebraska? That's fucking terrible. And again, they can't shoot from deep. Defense has been good. They're only allowing 67.2 points per game. I think Ohio State bounces back tonight with the healthy Zed Key. Sensabaugh, their freshman, has been fucking electric. This Ohio State team is good, and they lost a few games. So what? Just like Baylor, I told everybody, so what? So what? It's early. They're going to bounce back. They're going to come back. This is a good Ohio State team. 2.5 points in the first half. I like it.
Can't get you the 2. You can get you 3, though. Do you want -3 first half?
Sure.
Available right now. -3 at -109. Those 3s are up to -115 at most books. So let's grab it. Rob Free saying being a 14.5-point favorite against Minnesota and outright losing is a joke. We were on Minnesota in that game. Didn't expect them to win outright. But
definitely didn't expect them to win outright, but Ohio State was reeling. And this team can still easily be on the bubble. They just got to win. They know it. What that puts me at is a team that knows that they need to win right here against a Nebraska team that just flat out can't fucking shoot the basketball. I mean,
you got it. Ohio State first half -3 at -109, and the taint play of the day is the under 136.5. That's available 137.5 right now. Let's move on to the next spot on the board, 7 p.m. Eastern. Florida Gators at Texas A&M Aggies. Gators 10-7, 2-1 on the road. Aggies 12-5, 8-1 at Reed Arena in College Station, Texas. Jay Peasy has given us Texas A&M -2 first half already. Let's take a look at the line history for this A&M spot, and then we will set the table for Daby Cab. Texas A&M opening up as 4.5-point favorites. They're now 3.5-point favorites. This total opened up at 139. It's now at 138.5. And when we go over to the cash flow here for this one, 2,838 tickets in. 45% of the tickets and 96% of the cash is on Florida. There's been a 1-point move towards them. 44% of the tickets and 61% of the cash is on the under. That's dropped a 0.5 point, but was all the way down to 136.5, back up to 138.5. Florida comes in off its third straight win, 73-64 at home over Missouri on Saturday as 5-point favorites. Texas A&M comes in off its sixth straight win, just dominant 94-53 win at South Carolina on Saturday as 8-point favorites. Take it away for us, Daby Cab, Florida Gators, Texas A&M.
I actually do. I wanted A&M in this spot, but I haven't bet anything on it. Florida shooting 45.2% from the floor right now. That's 137th in the nation in scoring offense. They're averaging 74.2 points per game, which not bad. Defensively, they're giving up 66.4. A&M on the flip side, they're putting up 76.2 points per game, good for 89th in the nation. 102nd in scoring defense, allowing 66.4 points per game. We all know that they're going to apply that pressure. They like that full court pressure. Wade Taylor, he's been fun to watch play for A&M. He's putting up 15.6 points per game. I don't have his numbers, but I know he's averaging like 5 or 6 rebounds per game also. They're shooting 45.6 from the floor. This team's already played each other this year, right? We've got a couple games today where we can't ignore the fact that they've already played. First meeting, it was a 3-point win for A&M. And since that game, I would say Florida has been somewhat trending down. A&M's definitely trending up right now. There's no question about that with 6 straight wins. Also, they're 8-1 at home. I like A&M. I just haven't bet this game.
Yeah, I can understand the pause or the concern. Ron Crawford says, why is this line so low? Texas A&M should roll. Gary Tenembra in the house. Great to see you, Gary. Mally Mal's on the first half under. Ron Crawford thinking maybe the under is the spot.
Actually, you know what? That I don't dislike those under looks at all. I think both of these teams are going to apply a lot of pressure on each other.
And it's dropped a 0.5 point. It was down 2.5 points. This under 44% of the tickets, 61% of the cash on the under. Florida, Texas A&M under. I mean, Texas A&M allowed 53 points last game. Florida allowed 64. Both have tough defenses. I'm interested in the under. Okay, Jay Peasy on Texas A&M -2 first half. Just with the market alone, I would have to support Florida here. I mean, you have under 50% of the tickets and over 90% of the cash on Florida, and the books have moved a point away from it. Billy Friedrich says Gators are 3-0 against the spread on the road this season. JPZ says Florida starts slow and often loses first half, and even in games they win. Texas A&M top 50, ranked 42nd in first half covers, and he is laying the 2 first half. Our guy, JPZ. All right, we move on. Next up, a game that Daby wanted included in our breakdowns. We usually stick to 10 games. We added an 11th game because I didn't want to cut any of these games either. So Cincinnati Bearcats, 13-6, 4-2 in the American, and South Florida Bulls, 8-10, 1-4 in conference. We're in Tampa, Florida for this. And what a wild couple games for South Florida Bulls. Let's start with the line history here in this one. Let me get it up here. Here we go. We have Cincinnati opening up as 3-point road favorites. They got up to 4.5. It's back at 4. From a total side of things, it opened up at 141. It's now up to 142.5. 1,520 tickets in. 28% of tickets, 47% of cash on South Florida. Then 44% of the tickets and 90% of the cash on the over, and it's gone up 1.5 points. So some legitimacy to the over. Cincinnati comes in off its second straight win, 54-52 at SMU on Saturday as 5-point favorites. South Florida snapped their 4-game losing streak with an 81-70 win at East Carolina on Sunday's 1-point dogs. That came on the heels of giving number one Houston Cougars all they could handle in the 83-77 loss at Houston on Wednesday. It seemed like the books do not believe in South Florida. They certainly didn't in that East Carolina spot. And it feels like maybe the same thing is happening here. Take it away for us, Cab. Cincinnati Bearcats, South Florida Bulls.
Cincinnati's been a fun team to watch play. And, I was obviously on Houston against Cincinnati. I don't know. I don't believe in luck, but whatever the fuck you want to call it. I was not on Houston against South Florida. And then I was on Houston again yesterday with Pete. So I managed to be on them when they cover their first halves and not when they're not. One thing about Houston is their defense is so good. Like so good. And if you haven't watched it, anybody in the chat or you, Jimmy, if you haven't seen their defense, watch them play. It's so much fun. They're so good that teams suck that sometimes have a hangover the next game, maybe even the next 2 games, because Houston gets in that dome. They make people feel like they completely just forgot how to shoot the basketball. And even with that, Cincinnati, I think there wasn't too much of a hangover against ECU. I think on SMU, they still had some of that hangover. The Cincinnati team has played Arizona, Ohio State, Xavier, obviously Houston, we just talked about. They're very battle tested. Last game, they shot 33.8%, but and they still found a way to win. But this is a Cincinnati team that shoots 45% as a team on the season, averaging 76.8 points per game. They're 59th rebounding, getting 35.2 boards per game. Landers Noli leads them. He's been a lot of fun to watch play. This guy is putting up 15.1 points per game. The former Memphis Tiger, they're only allowing 67.3. They're holding opponents to 41.1% shooting, 54th in defense efficiency. This is a very good Cincinnati team that I think has had some low numbers, which is why we added them to the board last week at some point with you. I asked you to add them, and we cashed on them. This is another spot where you look, South Florida, they're putting up 71.2 points per game, shooting 44.1%, but they're giving up 69.2, allowing opponents to shoot 41.6%, 140 in the nation. I think that the inconsistencies of this South Florida team are going to show today. I think Cincinnati's just flat out a better team that is trying to prove something this season. I took Cincinnati first half. I got a -1.5.
Cincy first half for Daby Cab. Does it not feel like South Florida is playing their best basketball of the year right this very second?
Because they beat a Eastern Carolina team that's playing their worst basketball of the year right now.
But the 83-77 loss at Houston was extremely impressive.
True, but how serious do you think Houston took that game?
Not serious enough, but the market just doesn't seem to have a feel for South Florida here. They were 1-point dogs at East Carolina and won comfortably. Eddie Orler leaning to the under. Do you agree with the market move towards the over in this spot?
Yeah, I guess I could see the market move towards the over. Yeah. And I could also see why people think that I'm just looking at a low number on a Cincinnati team against a South Florida team, that's 8-10, but we're not, we're setting records aside here. You're asking me if I always say this, and I know this is breaking things down way too simple, without all the numbers, without any of it. Do I think that Cincinnati would be ahead of South Florida by 1 basket at the end of half? Yes. So there's my bet. I
hear you. No, I get it. Cincinnati -2, -110. So Cab is in. I got to study this more, and I'm curious to see what happens to the market, but it just feels like it's got to have been a trip to galvanize the troops. That was two good road games, regardless of how bad East Carolina is playing. Two good.
And last thing that I like to point out, I did already say this, but Cincinnati shot 33.8% last game, which is terrible. And this is a team that shoots 45% as a team. I like it whenever a team finds a way to win. It kind of like I like it when a pitcher doesn't have their stuff, but they still find a way to get that win. Cincinnati sucked ass last game. Terrible. But they still found a way to win. And this is a team that has shown throughout the season that they can shoot better than that. And they have played experienced teams. So I think the first half is a good look for them to be shooting the ball better, because it's just the ebbs and flows of basketball, like I've been talking about.
Yeah, no, I hear the breakdown makes sense. The breakdown makes sense. I do lean towards South Florida full game, but I don't know if I'll move on it. And that over does seem appealing with the way South Florida is scoring right now. 81 at East Carolina, 77 at Houston. Let's move on. 8:30 p.m. Eastern. The number 8 ranked Xavier Musketeers, 15-3, undefeated on the road this year in true road games. At DePaul Blue Demons, 8-10, 6-3 at home. We're at Wintrust Arena in Chicago, Illinois. DePaul opening up at +9. They're now at +8. This is Pinnacle openers. This total opened up at 158.5, has dropped a 1.5 to 157. I apologize for my son screaming in the background.
I can't hear it, so
okay,
I'm not sure if anybody else can either.
Good. Thank you for mentioning that to me, because I'll calm down a little bit from it. Xavier DePaul. Let's take a look at the cash here. 2,433 tickets in. 55% of the tickets, 87% of the cash on DePaul. Market moved a point in their direction. 51% of tickets, 97% of cash on the over, and it's dropped a 1.5. That's confusing. Xavier comes in off their 11th straight win, 80-76 at home over Marquette on Sunday as 3-point favorites. They're winning close games. DePaul comes in off its third loss in 4 games, 71-67 at home to Seton Hall on Saturday is 4-point dogs. And Rob Free saying USF is 7-1 when having a spread between +2 and +6. That's an edge and an angle that I find appealing. Rob, take it away for us, Cab. Xavier DePaul.
God, this line feels like a trap. No, man. When we look at this Xavier, their last couple games, they've looked great on offense. And this is when I give KenPom numbers, look, I know they're not like, I don't really give too much of a shit about it, but I still like to give it sometimes. This Xavier ranks 5th in the country in KenPom's adjusted efficiency ratings. Right now, the Musketeers, they're putting up 40.2% of their three-pointers, which also is ranked 5th. They've been solid pretty much everywhere on offense, and they're facing a DePaul team here that is 214th in effective field goal percentage. So DePaul doesn't play defense against a team that's just, shooting lights out. And to go further more into that, they've struggled so much on the offensive end that they're ranked 234 in effective field goal percentage also, which is 49 points per game. That's just 259th in offensive rebounding. This team everywhere, DePaul struggles in every aspect on offense is basically what I'm trying to point out. Shooting just 46.4% from 2-point range, which ranks them outside of the top 300. They don't do anything well, and they're facing an Xavier defense that is pretty good, 90th in adjusted defense efficiency. I mean, the line's not 3.5, right? That's wrong, right? Below us.
The line's not 3.5. The line opened up at 9. It's now at 8.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I knew that. See, I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, we'll all bet our houses on this 3.5. My bad. Okay. Yeah. I didn't bet this game. That's why I was just double checking. So yeah, at 8, that makes more sense. DePaul struggles on every part of the, sorry, Jose, I wasn't trying to put you on that. I genuinely in my head was like doing flip flops. Like, wait, that's not right. Is it like, because I need to bet it right now if it is.
Well, Xavier seems to be playing close game after close game after close game. I mean, do you see them being able to go out on the road and win by margin?
The 8 or 9 changes it completely. I hear what you're saying right there. The 8 or 9 change. Do I think Xavier wins? Yeah, DePaul's offense is terrible. So if I was gonna bet DePaul, which I'm not, but if I was, I would maybe look first half, because it wouldn't give as much time for Xavier's offense to get rolling and get, to pull away.
I'm interested in DePaul. I hear what you're saying about the first half situation. I kind of lean towards the full game, but that does give me food for thought. So, but I like. I think DePaul can keep this within single digits. I think the market believes in that as well. Are you staying off this one?
Oh yeah, I'm staying off. Yeah, because at 8.5, I lean DePaul also.
All right. Well, I'm going to move on DePaul here. All right, let's move on. We have two ranked teams playing each other, 9 p.m. Eastern. The number 22 ranked Providence Friars, 14-4, 6-1 in the Big East. Have the number 20 ranked Marquette Golden Eagles, 14-5, 6-2 in the Big East. Where Pfizer formed Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Providence had their 9-game winning streak snapped in a 73-67 loss at Creighton on Saturday's 6-point favorites. It was 7.5-point favorites, really. I doubled up on Creighton. I had them first -4 first half, -7.5 full game, and they were up 41-29 at the half. And I thought I was just going to smooth sail into the double up, and they played poorly down the stretch. They being Creighton, and Providence came right back into it. Here we have Marquette. Marquette had their 5-game winning streak snapped in the 80-76 loss at Xavier on Sunday. And we just spoke of that spot. Xavier were 3-point favorites at home and took care of business in a tight affair. Marquette was up 48-44 at the half. Marquette only turned the ball over 7 times and shot 47.7% from the field. They were out rebound 45-32, and that was the difference in the Xavier game. Let's take a look at the line history here. Marquette opening up as 6.5-point favorites. They're now 7-point favorites. This total opened up at 152.5 and has dropped to 150.5. And then cash-wise for this one, we have 3,954 tickets in. 28% of tickets and 74% of cash is on Marquette. 72% of tickets, 85% cash on the under. Take it away for us, Cab. Providence versus Marquette.
I just want to start with it. Just feels like a lot of points. A lot of points right here. I like what Billy said in the chat. He said Providence 5-1 on the road. ATS. That's a good stat here. Man, so we'll look into some of these numbers here. The Golden Eagles right now, they're averaging 82.7 points per game. They're 82nd in defense efficiency, so they're good on both sides of the ball. Solid. Jones leads them. He's putting up 15.8 points per game. When we want to look on the other side here, Providence right now, the last game they shot terrible. I had the numbers in front of me earlier. I should have them here. But I lost them. I want to find them where they were. They 21% from 3 and 38% from the floor. Last game, that was how Providence shooting. And, I like to talk about that because you expect to see some kind of a bounce back when a team that shoots well does that. Providence is averaging 79.2 points per game and is ranked 59th in defense efficiency. So they can play. Their point guard, Bynum, is questionable for this game. Again, I don't think that that's something that I touch on enough, and I'll try and make sure that I do because some of these players are extremely important, integral parts for the teams. So we need to know if he's in the game or not. For this game, I'm also off, but I lean Providence with the points just because I feel like it's too many.
Well, Bynum has been hurt for a while. Let me just pull up their full injury report.
Yeah, I just have questionable. I thought maybe he might be coming back, but I guess he's going to stay out.
He hasn't played in 2 weeks. He hasn't played since the 4th, and the market is telling us that he's not going to be in.
Right.
Bynum. Now, I was sent a message.
They keep making it seem like he's going to come back, and he's not. Like they're being very cryptic about it.
Well, I was sent a message here. Let me just pull up Providence's injury report here. This was the message I was sent. I was sent this message on Saturday, and so it was part of the reason. Also, I loved where the cash lies. I love where the cash lies in this game. I think it's another spot that's a perfect, absolutely perfect. Whether I can clearly see where the sharp money is.
Where is the sharp money on this one? Sorry.
Oh, it's the big bets have come in on Marquette. 28.
Yeah, okay, I figured that's what you'd say.
74.
For it to be a spread like this, it has to be, right? I mean, this is every. And I just said I like Providence, but I don't care. I'll put myself in this category sometimes. Every simple-minded bettor probably sees 7.5 with Providence and wants it.
The message that was sent to me on Saturday was the only point guard that Providence has available is a white guy walk-on that's a hero and pick up ball and walked on because his dad knows the AD. That was the message that I was sent when I doubled up to fade Providence.
Who sent you that?
I will not drop names,
Oh my God.
I'm not going to drop names here. It's someone who was
That's great.
Someone who is there in Providence. So I don't see why. So I thought that Providence was going, they had a 9-game winning streak, and it was the same type of numbers where all the big bets were coming in on Creighton, and the market was moving towards Creighton, but Providence had 80% of the tickets on them. So I thought, man, this is going to be a smash and grab, and
it was.
Well, really, it wasn't. It was they didn't cover the 7.5.
Wait, I thought
they were up 41-29 at the half. They easily covered the -4 first half. But then they fell off in the second half, and they only won the game by 6.
Okay.
So
sometimes I stop paying attention after the first half. Sometimes, just depends.
Well, it was really quite aggravating because we were live on NFL Pub Hub at the time. So what I'm saying is, I'm going to back Marquette here. I'm going to back them. They're dealing with more than just buying them out. Injury wise, they're serious problems at point guard. So I'm going to follow the sharp money, and I'm going to bank on Marquette making me that money here today. So first half and full game. Okay, so there you have it. Mal liking Marquette first half. I'm going to double up on Marquette first half and full game, and I think clearly. It's hard to get the information on the injury report here, but I don't think we need to get anything more than what the market is telling us. You have all these tickets coming in on Providence. 72% of the tickets are in on Providence, and we have a move towards Marquette. So I'm going to trust it, and I'm going to move on it.
This kind of feels like that. Now, it took overtime to get it, but hey, win by 0.5 or 500, it doesn't matter. Winning's winning. This kind of feels like that Iowa-Michigan game where everybody was like, why is Iowa laying 5.5? It's just it's 7.5 for a reason. I agree.
All right. Well, yeah, it's going to be a fun one. 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. All right, let's move on. We have 2 games left for us. They both pop off at 9 p.m. here. I was very excited about talking about that game to hear what everybody had to say about it. But let's move on. 9 p.m. Eastern, the 25th ranked Arkansas Razorbacks, the Pigs, 12-5, 1-4 in the SEC at the Missouri Tigers, 13-4, 2-3 in the SEC. We're in Mizzou Arena in Columbia, Missouri. Let's take a look at the line history here between these two squads. We have Arkansas opening up as 1-point dogs. They're now 2-point dogs. This total opened up at 155.5 and is now at 153.5. Take a look at the cash flow here. We have 4,613 tickets in. 89% of the tickets on Missouri and 84% of the cash. Strange. Then 55% of the tickets and 84% of the cash on the over. And we've seen the total drop 2 points. So quite confusing information there. Arkansas in the throes of a 3-game losing streak, losing at Auburn, at home to Alabama, and then at Vanderbilt, 97-84 on Saturday. Missouri on a 2-game losing streak, both on the road. They lost at A&M 82-64 and then lost at Florida 73-64, and they're back home where they have beaten Vanderbilt 85-82, and before that, the home game before that was beating Kentucky 89-75. Take it away for us here, Daby Cab, Arkansas, Missouri.
Okay. I know that this is going to be contrarian of what a lot of people are thinking here. This probably seems like a good spot for Missouri to come home and get right. And full game, I might not argue that with you on Missouri. I might not argue that Right now, we'll look at Arkansas. They're number 40th in 2-point. They're shooting 54.3% 2-point range. They do struggle from deep. I know that. Mississippi, 285th in field goal percentage and 354th in rebounding right now. Did I just say Mississippi? Sorry, Missouri. Missouri is 10th field goal. They are shooting, right? Their 10th field goal percentage, 56.3. So not bad, but they're going against the Arkansas defense that, is 22 in adjusted efficiency. So Arkansas, even with the struggles, has played defense. The Tigers, this is where this game gets interesting for me and why I'm doing what I'm doing, is the matchup, the height. Okay, the Tigers are 321st in average height in the nation, whereas the Razorbacks are 10th. Okay, so we have an extreme height differential in this game. I mean, big time. Full game, I think Missouri might be due for a bounce back win, and Arkansas has a lack of depth with their injuries. Their injuries are just plaguing this team right now. But early giving me plus points here with the size advantage that Arkansas has. I got Arkansas in the first half.
Arkansas in the first half. That's a wild stat you gave with the height advantage.
It's I can't ignore it.
No, and also you would think, like, a lot of people liking Missouri here in the chat, and I get it, but you would think that if 89% of the tickets and 84% of the cash was on Missouri, that the market would be moving a little more to Missouri. And I would like, let's just go into Bet Online and see what Bet Online opened it, because we have Pinnacle up. Pinnacle opened up Arkansas +1, now at +2, but maybe Bet Online has moved this more. And they did. They opened this up at a pick'em, and at 4:43 this morning, it was +3 for Arkansas. So it's come back, but they showed concern with the sharp money on Missouri. You are looking at Arkansas first half here. Let's get that for you. Arkansas first half.
Rob Free, he made a good point in there. He said Missouri just dominated this team first half a few games back. But then you look, Arkansas's only win. Second half of that game, Arkansas played outstanding. Ended up winning 74-68. So there's two ways of looking at it. Yeah, this might be a Missouri spot because we just saw them dominate them. Or Arkansas's coach made adjustments. The team made adjustments. They figured out this Missouri offense. And now we've got that momentum rolling into this game.
Yeah, this one is tricky. This one is very, very tricky. Shout out to James S. joining us. Great to see you. Cabs on Arkansas first half +1. We can get them at -105. Oh, that's not a legit book. Sorry, that's not a legit. So -109. We can give you +1 -109. All right, let's move on to the final game here on the board. And when these two teams match up, I think of our producer, Jose Bouquet.
You got anything on this one?
Obviously, has a dog in the fight. I don't know if Jose is going to jump on. We'll see. We'll see. I'll keep an eye on backstage. Oklahoma Sooners 11-6, 1-2 on the road at Oklahoma State Cowboys 9-8, 6-2 at home. We are in Stillwater for this one. Let's take a look at the line history. This one opened up with Oklahoma State at -3. They're now -2. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 127, and it's now 128. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. They have given Oklahoma State line value, maybe 15% line value, 1,977 tickets in, but Oklahoma has 63% of the tickets and 86% of the cash, and then 39% of the tickets and 83% of the cash on the under, and it's gone up a point from 127 up to 128. Let's take a look at the table setting here. You have Oklahoma's won 2 of their last 3. They're coming off that 77-76 home win over West Virginia that we spoke about when we talked about the Mountaineers. And Oklahoma State coming off their 3rd straight loss. They lost at home to Texas on the 7th of January, 56-46. Then 3 days later, they lost at Kansas State, 65-57. And then they lose on Saturday at Baylor by 16 points, 74-58. Take it away, Cab. Our last game on the card, Lee Davis leaning to Oklahoma State. What is Daby Cab going to do? Oklahoma State.
Okay, so the reason this number is so low on the total for a reason, but I haven't had Dave. My hair is long in the front. I just put it down under a baseball cap. So suck it, Dave. I'm just kidding. Dave's my guy. Okay, Oklahoma is averaging 69.2 points per game. So they're not putting up too many points per game here. Defensively, they're only giving up 63.5 points per game. They did give up 76 in their last game, which they still won. But yeah, they're going to need to do a better job here. Oklahoma State, they've played great defensively, giving up 62.5 points per game, which is just outstanding. On offense, Oklahoma State's putting up 67.9 points per game. Last game, they only put up 58, which they need to do better than that. Again, I talk about shooting percentages from game to game. Last game, they only shot 38.3% from the field. And 21.2% from three. I obviously expect progression from that. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't. Even though Oklahoma State's lost 3 games, they've played well, especially at home, where they have won 6 of their last 8 games. This is a rivalry game. I would only lean Oklahoma State here. I hate to say that since Jose is going to like that, and I didn't want to tell Jose what he wanted to hear. But I think I'd take Oklahoma State at home.
Come on!
Oh.
That's why. Porter Moser, you old cunt, fuck you. That's how about that. Oklahoma State wins this ball game. Why? Because they're at home, and that's the only reason. The only reason these teams win is a home team. Jawan Evans, shout out to him. Phil Forte, shout out to him. No shout out to Cade Cunningham because he was a hired gun. And no shout out to Mike Boynton, who's a bad coach. But Oklahoma State wins this.
Is this going to be an official pick from?
No, basketball is not my thing.
What do you mean no? Grow a pair.
No, zero pair can be found here. I went a crisp 0-3 on my last 3 basketball picks. I'm done with basketball. Basketball, I just no part of it. College, look, NBA, no thank you.
So some people, they go like 3-0 and they're like, I'm going to end perfect. You're just like, oh, I'm going to end as bad as I can possibly end.
On college basketball, yes. We have 49 days until the Baseball World Classic. Japan, and the Dominican Republic go down in the first game, obviously. But fuck Oklahoma.
Are you driving me down there and I can get a
No, I already bought my flight. And you want to know why I'm fired up, Dave, and why I start off with a C-bomb? My morning has been spent arguing with Helga this whole time. So we're fired up this morning. We're ready to go, and we're ready to beat some Oklahoma.
Maybe she wants you to grow a pair.
0 balls here, Cav. How many times do I have to say it? 0 balls can be found right here. 0.
If your balls enlarging, it's usually a horrible sign.
Yeah.
You don't want your balls to get too big because you need to see the doctor.
Well, truthfully, I kind of want to look like Stan Marsh in South Park, and I don't know if you'll get that reference, Jimmy. I don't know if you'll get that one.
I don't.
I got it.
Reference. Leonard says Helga's all over Oklahoma in this one.
Yeah, she probably is. That fucking dumb
whoa,
idiot.
Whoa, Jose.
Fucking annoying ass. That's what she is. She probably fucking is wearing Oklahoma undergarments right now.
Whoa. Remember, her dad is a police officer as well. Jose.
Yeah. Better at me in golf. Will probably beat my ass too.
Jesus. Wow. All right. Yeah. Picks from Dave is loving it, though, Jose. Nice to have you back on the show. Not making it official here, his thoughts on this Cowboys. Are you making anything official here, Daby Cab?
I'm gonna stick with the 5 bets that I've got.
All right.
Coward, you fucking pussy girl pair of balls, Cab. Fuck.
You know what, Powers? I was gonna do that. Thank you, Jimmy.
I didn't do that. He pulled himself out.
Oh, okay. Oh.
He just wanted the timing there. I love it. Little kid and play reference, Leonard Porsche Jr. I love it. Fucking love kid and play, man. All right. Let's review all college basketball action with Daby Cab here. He's fresh off of sweeping the board when he was with us on Thursday. He starts his card with Connecticut first half -2 at -116. By the way, Bonnie's money line from Rob Free says, thank me tomorrow, Bonnie's money line. But Daby Cab's on the Yukon first half -2, -116. I'm interested in the under in that spot. I also have some interest in the Virginia Tech under, but maybe it's moved too far, and I'm fine letting that one go. The over in TCU West Virginia, I'm interested in. Cabs on TCU first half +1.5 at -110. And Ron Crawford, spreadsheet play of the day is TCU Horned Frogs. LSU +5 is going to be on my card, but I need the 5. Cabs on Ohio State first half -3 at -109. And the taint play of the day is the under 136.5 in Ohio State, Nebraska. I'm going to be on the under in Florida, Texas A&M. And Jay Peasy is on Texas A&M first half -2. You were close to moving on that, did you?
No.
Okay. Then Cabs on Cincinnati first half -2 at -110. South Florida and the over I'm very interested in. I think I pulled the trigger on the over. We're expecting Cincinnati to shoot better, and South Florida's playing good ball right now. Best ball they played all year. The question is whether do I want to move on South Florida full game. Then I'm going to be on DePaul full game. I'm going to be on Marquette first half and full game. Cabs on Arkansas first half +1 at -109, and that shuts down his card. Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play today is the Pittsburgh Penguins, which makes me very nervous. It means Ron Crawford and I are going heads up on the ice here. I'm hoping that Norris's return to the Senators lineup is a big boom for them. And I just, when remember, I've always had the rule when a team's missing 2 of their top 4 defensemen, then I must fade them. Eddie Oilers taking Stamkos to score his 500th goal in Vancouver this evening at +155. Daby Cab, excellent work, my friend. Love capping with you. Let's stay hot, man. You swept the board on Thursday. Let's get after it again today. Follow Daby Cab on Twitter at Daby Cab. And Daby, you have a big week ahead. You have a big week. First off, where did I drop it? Your live stream action starts tomorrow night in a big one. Illinois, Indiana. You want to talk to us a little bit about the spot?
I haven't made my bet yet. So let's just say this. I will have one, and it will be exciting as hell. And we'll be pulling the trigger live. And our guy Dave already told me that he's going to be live with me for that one. So Dave will be there. And we're going to have some other great guests too. I've got a couple people that I know you guys will like. I just want to wait till they confirm for it. So it's going to be exciting, man. I'm really excited about that one.
That is perfect. And I have the other games here. Here we go. So that's our Thursday night, and we're going back to Thursday night live bet streams. Daby Cab is going to be hosting Thursday night live bet streams right now. So that's Hoosiers at Illinois fighting Illini. That is Thursday night. The game starts at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. The stream starts at 8:15. On Friday, Cab and Razor are going to be hosting the NBA live bet stream, Miami Heat at Dallas Mavericks. And Cab, Razor knows that you're going to be a little bit late because you got the pitching lessons that you'll be given. So he knows that he's going to start off the stream, and then you'll come in guns a-blazing for Miami Heat at Dallas Mavericks. That's on ESPN, so everybody will get it. And then Saturday, we're focusing on UFC. And then Sunday, 2:30 p.m., Connor Mack hosting Bengals Bills. And then at 6:15 p.m. Eastern, Cowboys, Niners go head to head.
Still got the NCAA Pub Hub this Saturday morning, though, right?
Definitely. Oh, Definitely. Yeah, of course. Always.
Jimmy, every 12-4 now. I told you it was 10-3 through 4 episodes. 12-4 now on my best bets for it. We got to keep that rolling. I love that. We have to keep that rolling. Jason Folk says, good luck, Dab. Great listen. Says, keep him around.
Dab, you said you're going to be around Friday?
Me?
Yeah, you live stream Friday?
Why? Are you planning on being there now?
Saucy Bouquet might make an appearance. I will admit.
You're invited if you're drinking.
Saucy Bouquet might make an appearance.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice, man. I like it. Daby, great job. Follow him on Twitter at Daby Cab. Go get that cash, my man. Any last words for the cappers supporting the show?
Oh, man. It's all family here at Pub Sports Radio. More get-togethers is what I want. I want to see some of you guys. I want to meet some of you guys. I want to pound some beer. Well, fuck that. I don't drink beer. I want to take some shots with you guys. I want to fucking smoke some fat ass bats with you guys. So soon enough, I'm sure it's coming, Jimmy. I don't know when, but I think we got things coming, and I want to see every one of you guys in the chat there. I can't wait to fucking gamble live with you guys and finally get to hang out with all y'all.
I love it. I can't wait as well. Yes, there's some big announcements that will probably go down this week. Let's review all action in NHL. Ron Crawford and I are going heads up. He's on the Penguins, and I'm on the Senators. Don't like going heads up with Mr. Ron Crawford. I think I move on this under 5.5 in Boston, New York Islanders. I'm gonna take a little bit longer look at it. I already bet the over 6 in Colorado, Calgary, and I think I move on Lightning -1. I think the Canucks just put a fork in them. In NBA, Darryl's on first quarter over 54.5 -110. I'm going to be on the under in Atlanta, Dallas, and I do have interest in Atlanta, but I'm not going to do it. It's just situationally, it's just not something I want. But I'm going to be on the under. Then I'm going to be on the under in Charlotte, Houston. Darryl's on the Grizzlies first quarter -2.5. He's on the Pelicans first quarter +1 at -110. I'm going to be on the Pacers full game. We stayed off Clippers, Jazz. Darryl's on the Nuggets -7, which I will take more time with. And Darryl's on the Kings first half -2 at -109. And we just went over all of college basketball. There you have it. A Wednesday here on Pub Sports Radio for Betting with the Bag. Thank you guys so much for being here and supporting the show. I'm going to heat up. I'm going to heat up right now. I'll tell you that, man.
Feel it. I can feel the heat emanating off of you.
Well, it's the stakes are high, man. And we were in such great shape. And then all of a sudden, everything just kind of fell apart in the beginning of 2023. So we're going to get back into our glory days. Mally Mal, picks from Dave, Officer of 50, Ayash, Yala, Philip, Tori Coker, Richie Vegas, North Ender, Swiss Horton. What a great group. Joe Chris, Jason Falk, Jarek White, Eddie Euler, Ron Crawford, Billy Friedrich, Drug Monkey RX AOD, Leonard Porsche Jr., Morgan Spooner, Robert Franklin, XCal 360, Justin McElvey, Lee Davis. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Jacksonville Zoe. Let's go out there and get that cash. Nunya, Rob Free, BJ. Thank you, guys. Thank you to my producer, Jose Bouquet. Great job, as always, Jose. It was nice to have you back on screen. Give me some action, a little energy from you. We love you, man. Now it's so when do you leave for the World Baseball Classic?
March 8th. March 8th, I'll be there. I'm going to go also watch a scrimmage, Venezuela versus the Houston Astros minor league team, minors system, whatever they're going to do for that. That's going to be a whole lot of fun. Don't ask me how I'm getting in there. Just know I've got those connections, obviously. And it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Hopefully I can see my good friend Salvador Perez, my mortal enemy Jose Trevino. And again, stay tuned for Say Hey Plays Baseball World Classic Edition. Those will be coming out soon. We'll be doing only 2 group previews because everyone knows that there's only 2 groups that matter in the Baseball World Classic and really 4 teams that matter in the Baseball World Classic. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun talking about it. March. And then if you're in the Miami area, come on down. I'll be at all those games. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. March 8th, and I'll be there through to at least the 16th as of right now.
Oh, I love it, man. I love it. We'll get a group together down there for sure. Alex Hills, thank you. JT Eel, thank you. Let's go out there and get that cash. Let's go out there and have a big Wednesday. I'm locked in, man. I feel the victories coming. I think we're going to get hot. And I need to get hot. So take it from here. Let's get the fucking cash. Let's get the fucking... Leche! Hey, Los Bookmakers. Milk that shit.